Hi guys, welcome to Chris's channel for this all-important live Europa League last 16 first leg tie away at AZ Alkmaar. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, X and Twitch. Wherever you're watching, please do get involved. We want to hear from you. We want to talk to you. We want to start debate within the comment sections. I will be going through the comments throughout tonight's live watch along and trying to get involved, answer your questions and just make chat happen. Please, if you're not already, make sure you are subscribed to Chris Cowlin's channel. It's at Chris Cowlin on YouTube. Do give this video a like. The more likes we receive, the more Spurs fans will be able to see this watch along in their suggested videos on YouTube. And do give my channel a little subscribe as well down there in the bottom left-hand corner, youtube.com/at Barnaby Slater _. But listen, what a huge game tonight is. Tottenham have somehow managed to maneuver themselves into a situation this season where the Europa League is everything. And I am, for one, here for it. We've been in the Europa League many times over the last 20 years since kind of the resurgence of Tottenham, which I would count as being since Martin Jol took over. It was the UEFA Cup back then, the Europa League since, in years where we haven't been in the Champions League. And the reality is we've never taken it as seriously as we should have, by which I mean pretty much every season we've been in the Europa League and we've got to the last 32 or the last 16, and only once actually in the last 8 where we lost to Seville. We've always been looking to get in that top 4 as well. But because of that, we've not taken it seriously enough. We've been a bit complacent in some ties and we've always lost out. This season, there is no excuse for that whatsoever. I, for one, am all about rest the big players for these Europa League games. So when it comes to Bournemouth at the weekend, I expect tonight's game to be tight. I hope that we're still in it, of course, for the second leg. And if it's tight and we are still in it, then rest those players against Bournemouth. I know it's a strange thing to say, resting players for the Premier League so that they can be fit for the Europa League. But that's what it's all about, because Ange Postecoglou has made a bit of a rod for his own back. He was asked a question about winning trophies at Spurs. He said, "I've always won things in my second season." That's just a truthism. Every club he's been at, he's always won either in his first or his second season. So the Europa League is now everything. We're out of the FA Cup. We're out of the Carabao Cup. We are not getting anywhere near, I don't think, the top 4 or 5 in the Premier League to get in the Champions League. So it's all about trying to get through to Bilbao. And if we win in Bilbao, win the Europa League, we're in next season's Champions League. And everyone who has laughed at Tottenham Hotspur this season will have it shoved down their throat. And that is what Big Ange is looking to do. Okay, I'm going to give you the itinerary for tonight. I'm going to be doing the live watch along with you. Whilst I'm doing that, Chris Cowlin himself, the Don of Tottenham Hotspur content, is at the game tonight, and he will be posting video updates on the channel throughout the evening. So keep an eye on the channel for other videos as well. Meanwhile, after the game, I will be doing a post-match reaction show on here, and then it will be the talk show element of the show where I will talk to Spurs fans from all over the world. They'll be calling in, and if you want to get involved in that, not tonight, but for a future episode, email tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. If you email tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com and say you want to get involved and talk to me after one of the games, Chris will sort that out. Then, at the end of the game, around 8:45 p.m. after that, Chris will be back. No, not Chris, sorry. Craig Dearman will be hosting the Spurs Chat podcast, where he will be joined by Ricky Norwood, Melvin Zareb, and Simon Foxhall. One more little bit of information that has broken today that I have to give you is that the Spurs Chat podcast, Chris's near nightly podcast, has been shortlisted in the FIVO Sport Industry Awards 2025 awards in the category Best Podcast. So well done, Chris. And I'm sure he'll be keeping you up to date as to how you can vote for that, if indeed it is a public vote. I don't even know. But before I get into the comments and start talking to you guys, let's get going with the team news, with kickoff about 5 minutes away. Vicario starts in goal, of course. And then the interesting element of the back four is, of course, we know, don't we, that Van der Ven and Romero are back in the squad. However, as I've talked about on my videos this week, I said it wouldn't surprise me at all if he started with Danso and Gray and he has done that. And then alongside them, he's gone for physicality. Udogie on the left and Spence on the right, and I don't mind that at all. Then in the midfield, because of Decky Kulusevski's injury, it was pretty much guaranteed which midfield he'd go for, and he has done that with Rodrigo Bentancur, Lucas Bergvall, and James Maddison. And then in the forward line, Sonny on the left and captain, of course, Brennan Johnson on the right, and Matthias Tell in the 9. On the bench, Austin and Whiteman, kind of surprised to still have us as 2 goalkeepers on the bench, even though we got so many injuries back. And no Fraser Forster, by the way, although, of course, that's because he wasn't named in this Europa League squad after the Christmas break, or the January break, into the knockout stages, sorry. And then the rest of the bench is Pedro Porro, Christian Romero, Mickey van der Ven, Yves Bissouma, Pat Matassar, Mikey Moore, Wilson Odobert, Dane Scarlett, and Dominic Solanke is back as well. So in terms of main talking points, like I said, Van der Ven, Romero, and Solanke back from their long-term injuries and available to play, but just on the bench. And let me know what you think in the comments, guys. But for me, I think that's the correct decision. I said it on a video this morning on my channel, in fact, a little preview. And I said, I think start with Danso and Gray, see how the game is going. And if we need desperately to change things, then we have options. They're just on the TV screen now, flicking to Alkmaar, and all of the AZ fans have their scarves out. Looks like they're going to make a big atmosphere this tonight. And do not forget, any of you who are feeling complacent or think this is an easy draw, this is a team, AZ Alkmaar, who in the playoff round, they beat Galatasaray 4-1 in the first leg at home, making it basically impossible for Galatasaray to turn that around. And that is a Galatasaray team who turned Spurs over in Turkey in the group phase. So I'm hoping that not only the fan base, but also the team, the squad, realize how difficult a game this may well be and how tight it can be. Meanwhile, I'm pleased that Dominic Solanke is back. We've missed him absolutely massively, and a good option to bring off the bench in terms of if we need someone to hold the ball up in the final third, which is the thing we've been really missing with Matthias Tell playing in that number 9. Other talking points, Yves Bissouma on the bench again. It really feels now that that Ange really trusts Bentancur and Bergvall as his mainstays in that central midfield, with Maddison kind of playing as that 10 role, but also coming deep to play in that quarterback role and really take responsibility for keeping the ball. And that's something we'll see again today. The only problem, I think, as we've seen kind of time and time again, is that it only really takes 1 or 2 passes from the opposition to break through that midfield. And whether that's because of the personnel of Bergvall and Bentancur in that 6 and 8 role, or whether it's because of the way that Ange asks us to press, I can't say I'm a tactical expert, so I wouldn't claim to know, but we need to be very careful about that. It's undoubted that Alkmaar will try and play a kind of strong defensive game and hit us on the break. Of course, they'll have Troy Parrott up front, used to play for Spurs, scored 17 goals, all competitions for Alkmaar this season, having a great season. So as he actually comes out of the tunnel now, number 9. And all of the Alkmaar fans are waving their scarves. I'll turn the volume up just to hear the atmosphere a little bit. Huge game for Alkmaar. Dutch clubs have had an amazing season in Europe until the knockout phases, when, of course, this week Feyenoord and PSV were heavily beaten, and hopefully Spurs can do the same. Question is, though, how much will we miss Decky Kulusevski in this game? He's going to be out at least until the end of the international break. He's been our best player this season, although he has dropped off in the last few weeks. And we heard from Ange Postecoglou in the pre-match press conference that he has been carrying a knock, and that makes sense based on his form recently. And it'll be interesting to see how much we miss him. Big game for Brennan Johnson on the right-hand side. If we can get him in space to run into and get him in those kind of inside right positions with opportunities to either get across in the Pomo in between the keeper and the back line of AZ Alkmaar, or to get into the inside right position, get shots into the bottom left-hand corner. That is where he does his best work. Let's hope we can get him into those positions. Danso and Gray will have a big part to play tonight if Spurs are going to get a result. Kevin Danso has really impressed me since he came in at Tottenham Hotspur on loan with an obligation to buy, I think, about 20-25 million pounds. This is his first European game for the club. And Archie Gray, who, what a unbelievable season he's had so far, just 18 years old, and just won the London Young Player of the Season, which is an award that Dele Alli had previously won. Pretty prestigious, and he beat Lewis Skelly from Arsenal, and Nwaneri from Arsenal as well. So a very impressive starting season for Archie Gray. And he's going to need to have a big game tonight. That is for sure. And then, like I mentioned earlier, big call from Ange. Left Pedro Porro on the bench. He's gone for physicality. He's gone for pace on either side, either fullback side. And I think that should make Spurs a little more defensively solid. Pedro Porro, very impressive going forward. And it would not surprise me at all if Porro starts the home game against AZ Alkmaar next week. But I think a little bit more solidity in this away game is a good decision from Big Ange as the captains get together on the halfway line for the toss. It's Classy, who is the captain of AZ Alkmaar, who I believe used to play for Southampton. But let's get into the comments. Also, of course, a big game for James Maddison. We need him to stay fit. We're going to need him to play the 90 minutes, which he hasn't done all that much under Ange Postecoglou, but a big game for him. Phil C in the comments says, remain positive tonight, Barnaby. Coys. Yes, of course. Schoolboy says Spurs to win the game. A few little jokes in here about me looking different to Chris Cowlin. Of course, I'm not and will never be Chris Cowlin because I do not have the work ethic of Chris Cowlin. I do not have the ability to put out 45 bits of content every day like Chris does. He's the absolute don of Tottenham Hotspur content. Incredible how much he releases for you guys. Tom Bowdler says, big game, no excuses. Please, Spurhawk says, I'm happy with a draw. Phil C says, here we go, Coys. I'll let you know, guys, how far delayed I am. Well, it's 46 seconds gone already in the game, and I'm just about to be started. So if you're looking to watch alongside me, then just give it a little pause wherever you're watching, because I'm going to be about a minute 15 behind you. And therefore, I'm not going to keep an eye on the comments as a result of not wanting to see about a goal before it's happened. A lot of camera work on Troy Parrott tonight. Big game for him. The script would say, wouldn't it, that Parrott likely to score. But let's see what happens in this game. And the game has kicked off, even on my feed. I've only got it on standard definition, though, on my screen, because all my other feeds have gone off. And Spurs start the game with the ball down the left-hand side. And Tottenham will be looking to try and impose their game. That's something that Ange Postecoglou has said this week in the press conferences. We'll be looking to impose our game on them, and they will look to hit us on the break, without doubt. Oh, as Bentancur loses it early. Oh, it's Madders, actually. He's lost it early, but he wins it back well and wins a free kick. Good work from James Maddison in his own half there. As he asks, I think, Kevin Danso, who I think is playing on the left-hand side of the two centre-backs, to give him another option when he's got the ball. And they're pressing us very high, pressing Kevin Danso, making him go long, and he kicks the ball out. That's actually something that we haven't seen that much in Premier League games recently, is us being pressed in the centre-back position. They usually let the centre-backs have the ball and then press the second ball, as Bergvall wins a header in midfield, but AZ get it and then get it out wide left. Come inside now into central midfield. If any of you think that this is going to be an easy game, I suggest you think again, because like I said in the opening, Galatasaray absolutely whipped in this game as Udogie puts the pressure on their player. Good pressing from Udogie into midfield, and they're forced backwards. But Alkmaar already looking very comfortable on the ball. And they good channel run down the left-hand side from Parrott here. Archie Gray goes up against him and does well, wins it. And then gives it into Spence, and Gray goes down the line. Oh, headed. Alkmaar look very up for this at the moment, I have to say. Now, Lucas Bergvall with a little bit of space in midfield. He's going to have to give this easy. He has an option with Udogie, and Udogie goes out wide to the left. Son gets his first touch on the ball, gives it into Bentancur, who has Maddison with him. We're on the halfway line now. Spence just getting outside him. And Johnson makes an inside run. And a good little 1-2. And Spence, lovely quick feet from Spence, comes narrow. And then gives it back to Bentancur. Tottenham just trying to get some control over the ball in midfield here as Kevin Danso lays it out wide. 2.5 minutes gone, just in case you guys are watching with me and I'm on a bit of a delay. As Bergvall lays it out wide, Sonny plays it inside towards Tell, and it bypasses Tell and goes through to the keeper, which kind of sums up the story of Tell's Spurs career so far. Not really making any chances for him, and he's not really able to get the ball down in the 9 position very well. Alkmaar played a little medium range ball into midfield there, and it's too easy for them to get it down. Now they're doubling up on us down the left. Spence, cross coming in here from Alkmaar. Oh, and a huge chance at the near post, and it's a goal kick to Spurs, and Troy Parrott thinks it should be a corner. It's too easy to get down the left, as I say every single game this season. Deary me, doubling up, and both the wide players, Spence and Bentancur, pointing at each other to get out wide. Deary me. Vicario now, a bit of a heavy touch. Spence now, bit of a heavy first touch. And AZ really are pressing us high up the pitch, but Spence, as ever, using his strength to turn away from Klaassen. They're just talking in commentary about how Jed Spence wasn't even in the squad for the group phases of this tournament, and now he's Tottenham's kind of most important players. Matthias Tell gets his first touch on the ball, and he came to the halfway line to get that. Probably just wanted to feel the touch of the ball on his feet, and that makes sense. 4 minutes gone now. Brennan Johnson gets his first touch, plays it inside to Spence. Good little one touch from Spence back to Johnson. Into Bentancur, comes back to Bergvall. And not surprisingly, as Bergvall took a horrible touch and then kicks the opposition player, play on. It was Bergvall trying a pass there, and he's actually kicked the opposition player because the ball got away from him a little bit. That was accidental. But not surprisingly, whenever we have the ball, AZ Alkmaar have 11 behind it. Pretty lucky there that Bergvall himself wasn't got injured, because that's a horrible injury for the AZ player. That could be really damaged. Very strange scenario, actually, where Bergvall just took a heavy touch, and so he's trying to play a crossfield ball, and the ball got away from him, so he ends up just full pace kicking the opposition player's ankle. And he's still down. So I'll go into the comments. Yeah, Phil C says, ouch, Bergvall takes a lump out of the AZ player. Patch Thomas has said, tactical ineptitude by Ange again. Patch, I'd be intrigued for you to get back in the comments and tell us what you think is tactically inept about this. Nearly 1,000 of you, though, guys, watching this game concurrently with me at the moment. Thank you so much for your support. Do press that like button if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe to Chris's channel, @ChrisCowlin, if you haven't already. And I have to say, it's the number 23 for AZ, and I'd be surprised if he plays on here, because he is limping heavily. It's Lardo. That's a bad one. And also, in the slow motion, you saw his ankle kind of almost give way under the pressure of Bergvall's strike. Anyway, the free kick has been taken. Archie Gray wins the first ball from the long one. And it goes off for a Spurs throw. And Spurs just a little bit... Yeah, I think... Basically, at the moment, AZ Alkmaar a little bit more energetic, I'd say. Although Lardo is limping heavily. He's trying to run this off. I'd be so surprised if he carried on. Vicario played a bit of a dodgy ball out through the middle, but come back to Archie Gray. Plays into Bergvall. Very dangerous. They're pressing us all in the final third here. Bentancur, lovely back heel into Bergvall, who has to open it out there. Lovely outside of the boot ball from Bergvall into Udogie. Son now drops it off to Madders, who has a bit of space for the first time. It looks to me like AZ are basically playing a kind of, when we've got the ball, a man-to-man press all up the pitch. So Spurs are going to have to get used to that. Good ball from Madders inside to Tell. He's got a bit of space, and he tries a long crossfield ball. Eventually, it does get to Brennan Johnson, whose touch isn't ideal, but he's still got it. Comes inside now to Spence. To Tell, to Johnson. Back to Spence, just keeping the ball now. And Spence comes back to Bergvall, who comes back to Bentancur. Good first-time ball to Spence, though, who's got good space. No one in the box. And Lardo, like I said, he's struggling. He's going to go off. And Rangers have taken the lead at Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce. That's big for them. And it looks like Lardo is going to go off. And they're just taking the player off now. Okay, the game has started again with a drop ball to Bentancur. First 8 minutes, not a lot going on, just kind of feeling each other out as Udogie goes down the line. And he gets a 1-2, and there was a little foul there on, I think, Maddison. The ref hasn't given. Maddison is still on the floor, but I think he'll be okay. No, he's fine. But it's kind of wasted a bit of Spurs' attack because Bentancur put his arms up and insisted we bring the ball back. But anyway, comes out now to Brennan Johnson. Good first touch inside. Just so many AZ Alkmaar bodies. This is exactly as expected, really. The difficulty that Spurs have faced all season with playing against teams who play 11 behind the ball, and this is what we're going to get tonight. And AZ will just try and pick us off. So we need to be patient. We're popping the ball around okay, though. Maddison now back on his feet. Comes back across to Archie Gray, who comes to Jed Spence. First touch wasn't great. Gives it into Johnson, who brings it all the way back to Big Kev Danso. First gives it to Udogie. Goes to Son, who tries to flick it around the corner and then finds Udogie again. He does look fresh, Udogie, since he's come back from injury. Son to Udogie, back to Son. Some good little triangles from Spurs, just trying to move AZ around with 1, 2, and rarely 3-touch passing. Bentancur goes back to Gray. Goes to Danso, who goes across to Son, but it's not a good ball, and it's been picked off. And this is where AZ are going to be at the most dangerous. And straight away, they've got a man coming in at the back post. And here it comes to him, the number 21 on the edge of the box. Oh, and he's in. He's in. And he hits it wide, and in fact, so wide that it goes off for a throw-in. And all, as ever, all the problems for Spurs come down the left. And another AZ player has gone down. And the AZ player, I mean, that was very odd defending again from Spence and Bentancur down the right-hand side, actually, where they almost waited for each other for the second time in this game to try and defend the situation. And in the end, no one did it. And yeah, the wide player, Cassius, was on his left foot and should have troubled Vicario. Thankfully for Spurs, he didn't. Spurs, as ever, playing silly buggers in their own half, but oh god! And Danso correctly turns away when maybe he kind of was tempted to give it back to Vicario, but somehow Spurs have found their way out down the left-hand side, and Tell does really well, holds it up nicely in central midfield. Gray now plays to Spence. Unfortunately, that was a bit behind him, and that slows down a little bit of momentum that we had. But Spence picks off a nice little ball into Bentancur and gets it back. We're on the centre circle now. The halfway line, rather. Gray now to Danso. The pitch isn't ideal, by the way, especially down the middle of it. A little bit brown and bumpy. Son. No. Spurs struggling to get any fluidity here. And this will suit AZ Alkmaar, who will most importantly just want Spurs not to get any fluidity and then to try and pick us off as Brennan Johnson presses the keeper, and that leads to a ball coming all the way through to Udogie, who gets it down on the halfway line. This is going to be one of those gritty little European games, I think. We just need to be patient and stay in it. There's going to be no space in behind. Deep block. And we're going to need a bit of genius, I think, from a Sonny or a Madders. Maybe some fleet of foot from Jed Spence, who just played a nice ball into Madders. Or was it Bentancur, maybe, who played a terrible ball. Good strength from Spence there. Bergvall is a little bit off it. Oh. The ref calls it back for a foul to AZ on the halfway line. Not a great start from Spurs, I'd say, but this is exactly the game that hopefully Ange would have told them to expect. Very gritty. So they dip one over the top of Archie Gray. And he's got to be strong. And Danso helps him out there. Good defending from Kev Danso. And then a big up and under in central midfield that Bentancur's going to have to get up for. He kind of pushes the player out of the way, but we end up losing it anyway. And now they're in down the left again. And all the trouble is coming from the left. And Bentancur got a foot in, but in the end, Archie Gray has to clear it. This is not pretty from Spurs at the moment at all. The Spurs have won the ball back on the left-hand side. Oh, and then Udogi's basically been pushed onto the ball and gives away a throw to AZ Alkmaar, which is naive. Yeah, Glenn Hoddle's saying that in co-commentary that he feels Spurs have been a little bit sluggish on the ball as we press AZ all the way back to their keeper, and he has to go long. Oh, but and Danso does brilliantly and heads it to Udogi, who tries to head it on. There seems to always be space in midfield, but brilliant from Archie Gray. Absolutely brilliant from Archie Gray. Now he's driving forward with the ball. Give it easy. And he didn't give it easy. Tried to find Brennan Johnson in front of him and just kicked it off, unfortunately, but really good front foot defending from Gray. Oh, Johnson wins the ball up, does well in midfield. Brilliant. Passes it to Son. He's going to have a dig here, Sonny. And it's deflected. First shot of the game, though, from Spurs, really. It was from about 50 yards out. That was good play from Brennan Johnson down the right. And Spurs once again through Tell, just pressing the keeper up. Johnson coming on the press now as well, but nobody coming with him. Bergvall probably about 15 yards too deep there, I'd say. And Maddison was calling for him there. And that's something that's happened too many times already. An easy chipped pass from the back line of AZ Alkmaar into midfield and them having players in the midfield easily able to take it down. Too simple there. That shouldn't be happening. But good win there in midfield. Oh, from Maddison, but it was Bentancur, actually. Anyway, AZ now in down the left, and this is where all the trouble comes from. They try and get a cross in, but Spence blocks it, and that is a throw-in. Maybe this is actually a corner because, yeah, it is the corner. I thought Spence's block had seen it out for a throw-in, but it's obviously a corner. So all the big guys are coming forward for Alkmaar. It's going to be an in-swinger. 17 minutes on the clock. Oh, it's deep, and there's nobody on the edge of the box. And Bergvall, and it's a goal. Fucking hell. Lucas Bergvall own goal. Free header from a corner at the back stick. And this is the worst thing that could have happened to Spurs because it's exactly what Alkmaar will want. Get a goal, hang on to it, hit us on the break. Deary me, Spurs. It's embarrassing. In swinging corner, and he's completely free at the back post. Then Bergvall tries to clear it with his left foot, and it flicks off his ankle into the far corner. Off his shin, actually. Oof, this is frightening, to be honest, for our season. Because this is exactly what happened to Galatasaray. And you chase the game. And now the fucking atmosphere is well up. And Spurs, and frankly, the biggest worry about it is Spurs haven't even been in this game yet. They're just getting pressed to death and looking dodgy, not enjoying it. Lovely touch from Tell in midfield to Spence, whose touch is heavy and kicks it off. I've said it in my videos this week. It's Europa League or bust for Ange Postecoglou. Bentancur tries to get the ball down, plays it in midfield, and gives it away. And now Parrott running at the 18-yard box. And he can't deal with it. And then Spurs get a foul. Just the start that we did not need for Tottenham. Glenn Hoddle on co-commentary saying that Tell has to make some runs in behind. There is no in behind because AZ Alkmaar playing such a deep defensive line. There is no in behind. And Spurs just knocking it about their back line, but being pressed so high, there's nothing in it for them. Good stuff from Bentancur, though, and Bergvall now does have space. And he's got to find Son, and he does, but it's behind him. Anyway, Son now running at the box. Plays a good ball in towards Udogie. Tries to cut it back, and that should be it's a goal kick. But that at least was our first kind of foray into the AZ 18-yard box. But what a surprise. Spurs concede another goal, and within the first 20 minutes as well. Doggy just making wrong decision after wrong decision in central midfield there. Gives it away. Could have just given it easy a couple of times. Oh, well done there from Archie Gray. Wins the ball back. And now Bergvall running through midfield. Driving. Well done. Give it out to Sonny. And he does. Oh, and then Sonny gives away a throw-in. Trying to beat a man, which I don't think he has in his locker anymore. He's trying to blame someone else. And this is the problem with Spurs. I've said it numerous times this season. You come up against adversity. You come up against a difficult atmosphere. You come up against a game, against a team who are incredibly motivated. They always seem to give it up first. Give up the first goal, make it difficult for themselves. And the camera's on Bergvall a lot for this, but it's not his fault. He tries to clear it. It's very unlucky. But the problem is that there's a free header, it's not a header even, it's Troy Parrott at the back post, so the corner comes all the way to him. Why aren't we marking men? Or is that just too old-fashioned to mark men? Deary me. Anyway, Bentancur gets the ball down to Spence. We're going to need Spence to try and take this game by the scruff of the neck here. Nobody really is. Maddison not in this game at the moment. Son not in this game. Tell certainly not in this game. Maddison getting on the ball now. Gives it in to Tell. He knocks it off to Bentancur, who plays between the lines lovely to Bergvall. He finds Johnson, who goes back down the line to Bergvall. This is where we miss Porro, to be honest, but Johnson comes inside to Bentancur. And Johnson is down. Good early cross from Johnson. That was some of our best play. Leads to only a throw-in, but that was good stuff down the right from Spurs. Spence now. Plays it inside. Spence gets it back. Needs options. Goes back to Gray, who will come across to Danso, who has Udogie. Oh, Danso drives though. Good stuff from Danso. Takes a couple of players out of it. and goes all the way down the line. Good lad, and gets an early cross in. Really brilliant from Danso. Tell now on the edge of the box. Lays it back to Spence. He might have a dig here. Doesn't. Lays it out to Johnson. He goes back to... Brilliant. At the byline. Crosses it back, and it goes into the keeper. Great stuff from Spurs. Tottenham's best play. Oh, and that is too easy. And now they're in down the left. It was just one header from Parrott that's led to them getting down the left. They come narrow, though. Gray's done well. It comes back. "23 minutes gone. AZ Alkmaar 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Alkmaar just popping it about now. Oh, lovely stuff from Alkmaar. They're in down the right. Beautiful stuff. Parrott has a chance. Edge of the box. Chance. Good block from Archie Gray. But then he gets a secondary header. Another chance. It goes off for a goal kick. Shocking defending from Spurs. Tottenham on their knees at the moment. And this is why Galatasaray lost 4-1 here, guys. There's an argument to say we've taken this a little bit easy. And AZ Alkmaar just pressing us to death at the moment. We cannot get out of our last third, really. We did get to the byline a couple of minutes ago. Once. But this has started exactly how AZ would want it. And Tell has got himself into a little set two in midfield, and he's pointing a finger into the defender. Oh, dearie me. Udogie with a blind, bizarre crossfield ball. And AZ have it in the final third here. But Bergvall's won it back and should win a foul there, but doesn't. And then Udogie comes in and helps. Madison is fouled. And AZ just giving away lots and lots of professional fouls here because they're pressing so high. And you don't get yellow cards given against you for those. As Spence now comes down the line to Johnson, who bizarrely... We've lost the ball in midfield. They're in here. Big problems. Oh, but he slipped before having a shot. But they've still got it somehow. And they're in down the line here. Parrott's cross blocked. And then Johnson gets it away. But just gives it straight back to the AZ player. We're being completely outplayed here. Klassen now, the ex-Southampton player, down the line. And Spence gets a tackle in. And it's a throw-in. One thing I would say is in these European games, sometimes you just have to stay in it. You have to stick in it when the other team are all over you and just make sure you don't get blown away. And this is definitely the position Spurs are in right now as Johnson gets a good foot in and Bergvall has some space ahead of him, but he's got nobody really with him. But luckily it breaks to Tell now in the inside right position. Running at the box. Oh, dearie me. Oh, heavy touch and tackled. That felt like Tell's almost like the first time I've seen Tell run at any defense since he's been at Spurs. He had loads of space down the right. He just takes a heavy touch and he's easily tackled. Very disappointing. Deary me. Now Spurs try and put the press on AZ. And they go all the way back to the keeper. Keeper goes long. Good touch from Danso into Udogie. Turns away. Goes back to Danso. Spurs just lacking any kind of creativity or confidence or anything on the ball at the moment. Archie Gray brings it forward. Into Spence. Heavy touch from Spence, but wins the second one, gets away. And then should win a foul, but Bergvall has it and plays it out to Johnson, whose first touch is heavy. And that is the first corner for Spurs of the game. Can we do something from a set piece like AZ did? Got Big Kev Danso. Got Bentancur, likes to make that front post run from corners. Madison is going to take it. It's going to be an outswinger. 28 minutes gone. 1-0 to AZ. Lucas Bergvall own goal. Johnson's in the box. I don't really know why he's not great in the air. I can't see Bergvall at the moment, but they're on a close-up of the referee. Bergvall is in the box. He is decent in the air for his height. Johnson, I guess, is just trying to block the keeper a little bit, maybe. He's getting pushed out the way. And the ref's getting involved. Refs just need to start giving penalties for this. It would. I say it every week, but it would get stopped so quickly. Come on, Madders. Good delivery here. Come on, mate. Here it comes. Comes into the front post, and Bergvall made that run and heads it wide. He wants a corner for it, but nothing. Let's see this again. Bergvall was pretty sure this should have been a corner. Oh, I think it probably should have been. Now AZ with the long goal kick. Half an hour gone. Parrott tries to hold it up against Gray, but can't. And then Bergvall slips over the ball, but gets away with it. Oh, and then some lovely skill. Oh, but then loses it, unfortunately. Johnson helps him out. But good strength from AZ. They're winning the 50-50s at the moment, but Jed Spence stops a through ball. They would have been in down the left there. Good work from Spence. 1,500 of you watching this concurrently at the moment, guys. Thanks for the support. Do press the like button if you're watching on YouTube or wherever you are. Make sure you subscribe to Chris's channel. Tottenham not doing well at the moment. That's to say the least. 30 minutes gone. AZ 1, Tottenham 0. Spence with the throw-in. Bentancur loses it, but Spence gets it back. He dinks one into midfield. And, of course, Tell is unable to bring it down. But then, beautiful ball first time from Bergvall to Son, who's one-on-one here. And we've got bodies getting with him. Wait through doggies outside you, Son. Son has a dig. Blocked. Fuck off, Son. Fucking hell. Should have just given it to a doggy outside him. Fuck's sake. Now they're breaking through midfield. They're in. One-on-one, Parrott. What a save from Vicario. My God. Great save. I'm telling you now, Troy Parrott was onside for that one-on-one. It would have counted. Amazing save from Vicario. It was too easy. It was just from the transition. After Son had his shot blocked when he should have passed it to a doggy. They pick it up, doesn't even go out for a throw, and then they just run down the center of the pitch. And it's so easy. And here comes their second corner of the game, AZ. They scored from the first one. Near post. Oh, gets another chance at it, Parrott. But just flicks it up. And it goes off for a goal kick. Massive save from Vicario there. Huge. But just so easy. Oh, now Spurs getting pressed all the way back to Vicario. Finds Danso. Goes into midfield with Madders. Flicks it round the corner and is fouled again. But the ref doesn't fall for it. And he's kicked it off the pitch. Madders is not in this game at the moment. None of the Spurs players are. Fenerbahce equalised. Meanwhile, Spurs win the ball back. And then Gray has to go back to Vicario. He's not blessed with options here. Tries a left foot ball into central midfield. It's cut out, but Spurs manage to get away with it. Tell needs to hold this up there. He just about manages it. And then Madders with him. It should be a yellow card. Should be 2 yellow cards. But he's still going Matters. This is good strength from him. And then comes in narrow. Beautiful stuff from Matters. Beautiful stuff from Matters. Best thing Tottenham have done all day. Ran up pretty much the length of the pitch. There should be at least 1 yellow card here as well. And Sonny is placing this free kick. And I don't mind it. So it's in the inside left position. It's about 22 yards out. We've always wondered down the years, why does Son score so many free kicks for South Korea, but doesn't get the chance to take them for Spurs? Maddison now looking like he's going to try and take it off him. But Sonny, you are the captain. So if you think this is your angle, you should take it. Don't be subservient here, Sonny. Frankly, I don't care which of them takes it, but just make the keeper make a save. It's clear that in this game, we're not going to have that many chances. AZ are really up for it. We've given them their goal, and we're going to need to take advantage of opportunities. So Sonny has walked away. Madders is going to take it. Come on, Madders. Come on. Why has he put an arm up? Oh, no, they're going for something mental. What have they done? They've gone for a short free kick. That is fucking bizarre. Should have had a shot. It's the perfect opportunity for a shot. Completely mental. They tried something intricate and it just embarrassed us. Fucking shit. That has summed up our half. Anyway, we have the ball in central midfield and Matters. Why Madders and Son stand over it when it's 22 yards out? You have a chance to make the keeper make a save in a difficult game, and you try and do something intricate. Fucking ridiculous. Bentancur now to Danso. Plays a horrible ball to Doggy, making him go backwards, but he finds Son, who has to work backwards, and AZ really pressing us now. Gray under pressure. He might have to go long here, Gray. He dinks it in towards Bergvall, but that was mad. That was mad, and they're in down the left now, Alkmaar. This is stupid from Tottenham. Easy cross chance, and Gray gets himself in a good position, and this time goes properly long. And Tell can try and hold this up, and fails, but wins a foul. Well done, Tell. What are they doing? Just they're playing a replay of the free kick there. It ends up at the feet of Kevin Danso, who tries to play a chip ball over the top. Completely mental. Glenn Hoddle on co-commentary turning in his non-existent grave because he would have just loved to have had a dig from that effort, that far out. Spence being pressed, as is Archie Gray by Troy Parrott. Goes across to Vicario. Parrott working very hard. Goes across to Danso, who does well to play inside to Doggy. And Doggy's got space to run into now. He lays it out wide. And a bit of space here for Madders, who goes wide to Son. And then Madders makes a run outside him. So Son comes inside to Doggy. And Bentancur is free, but he goes back out wide to Son. Now we slowed it down. And Doggy is going to make a secondary run, and it's a good one. But Son chooses not to find him and goes inside to Bentancur, and we're coming all the way back now. So frustrating and slow. Gray now out wide to Johnson. Heavy first touch. Goes inside to Spence. Johnson pulled over, but no foul given because Spurs still have the ball, but it's back at the halfway line. Can't tell you how happy AZ Alkmaar will be with this so far. Doggy. Oh, nice ball round the corner from Madders, but Bentancur gets caught under his feet. Back to Maddison now. Gives it inside to Bergvall, whose touch has been a bit shit all day. And oh my God, that sums it up. He's having a bit of a nightmare here, actually, Bergvall. It's like I don't know what's going on, but he's got his legs caught under his feet a bit. And just as I called that about his touch being bad all day, he bizarrely shanks it off the pitch. And then Spence tries the ball into the channel towards Tell. That's well defended by Alkmaar, actually. And then they come and try and play it down the line, but Bentancur gets his body in a decent position. Spurs have it back in their back line. Archie Gray to Kevin Danso. Can Tottenham do anything before half-time? This has been the perfect first half for AZ Alkmaar so far. Madders now goes first time down the line to Son, who has Udogie making an inside run. Madders now comes wide, and Son gets to the byline, tries the left foot cross. It's a good cross. It's over everyone, but Spence does really well. Into Johnson, outside the box. Has a little dig, Johnson. Why not? Just over the bar. Left foot, but I don't mind it. And AZ going to take their goal kick long. Spence goes for the header but misses it, and then works hard to get it back, and then loses it in a 50-50 with Troy Parrott. Comes inside, and they go down the line here, and Bentancur's got to be careful. And he does, gets it, he shepherds it out for a goal kick against the pacey left-sided forward. And now Danso brings it out to Udogie, to Son, who gives it back to Udogie, and Spurs have lost it already in central midfield. Spurs, AZ have not lost any of their last 17 home games in European competition. Good stuff in midfield from Udogie here. Into Bentancur. Looked a bit a cut above there. We need more of that from Udogie. And Archie Gray now has it to Danso. Lets it run to James Maddison, picking the ball up deep. Plays it wide to Sonny, and Maddison carries on his run. Sonny plays it inside to Tell. Oh, heavy touch from Tell. Deary me. He's not played well so far. Tell. I mean, nobody has, to be honest. And AZ go long with their keeper's kick, and it comes back. Udogie wins it into Danso, who drops it off to Bentancur. I think Bergvall's going to come off at half-time, to be honest. Bentancur tries a long ball. Actually, it comes up to Johnson, whose touch is heavy, but he finds Bergvall back. I wonder if Basuma might come on at half-time, you know. Bergvall finds Spence. 5 minutes till half-time. Probably best if Spurs just try and get in 1-0 down at this stage, I have to say, because this has suited AZ this game. I'd probably bring Wilson Odebear on as well for the ability to try and get some pace at the deep back line. Good stuff in midfield from Spence there. Finds Maddison. That was better from Spurs. Madders needs an option. Finds Son. Spence has made a good run for him down the line, but Son couldn't find him. In central midfield again with Bentancur. Gray comes across to Danso. To Udogie. And everything is in front of AZ Alkmaar. We're going to have to go back to the keeper here, and we do. Yeah, and the commentator is just saying how much the way the game is being played suits AZ Alkmaar. Johnson, not a bad idea there. Got the ball, comes inside and tries to find Maddison, but the pass wasn't good enough. Once again, I think Spurs are really suffering here from not having anyone in the front third who can really cause any trouble to the opposition. So not putting any worry in their mind, really. Oh, and just a full straight ball down the pitch to Troy Parrott, who's not even challenged. And now they're in down the left again. Fronting up Archie Gray. Poku gets to the byline. Big chance here. And Danso has to clear it at the near post for a corner. It's another corner, and let's not forget the goal came from a corner. They've done it early this time. They pass it to the edge of the box to Klassen. Comes across again. They dink it to the back post. They've got 4 men against 2 here at the back post. Huge chance. And Spurs have about 85 chances to get this clear, and we still haven't. Bergvall with a huge, huge tackle. And now Maddison plays it out to Tell, who's got some space. That was a huge chance for AZ there. Deary me. Good stuff leading to Johnson coming forward now. Plays the ball into Maddison. Brilliant from Maddison. Oh, but good defending. So this one, they played it out and then he dinks it to the back post. Actually, they would have been offside here. Although the person who was offside didn't try, and then it's just bodies and Spurs players, as ever, in the box, just kind of standing about. And in the end, a huge slide tackle block from Bergvall is what saved us. Oh, AZ so much better in the final third than Spurs at the moment. And Danso has given away a free kick here, just outside the box. And you can guarantee that they won't be pissing about with it. They'll have a shot. Oh, fucking hell. Why do we even get excited? Paul O'Keefe, the journalist, says all the time, under Daniel Levy, there is no point getting excited because Tottenham will not do anything. And is this going to be another of those games where Spurs, in a game that on paper you'd think they should win, fail? And we go out of the tournament limply, and that will be the end of Postecoglou. He won't survive. He won't survive this if Tottenham don't go through this tournament. Vicario lining up his wall, the AZ crowd getting behind this. We had a chance that was closer than this with a free kick, and we pissed around with it. And you know that AZ are going to have a proper dig at this. We're into the added time. 2 minutes added time. Here it comes. Actually, they do piss around with it, but they and then they chip it up to the far post, and no one's marking the far post. Now a chance for the cross to come in, and it's a good one. Clearance. Okay, and it falls to Sonny. He's got to get rid of it, but he doesn't. And nor does Bergvall as well as he should have done. Jesus fucking Christ, Tottenham. Spence wins a header. Flicked on in midfield and straight to AZ. And Spurs just look like they're just jogging about. And AZ are in again. Deary fucking me. Bergvall pissing about with it and wins a free kick. Commentator saying how this has been a hard watch this first half. I'd say that is the understatement of the fucking century. Dross. Absolute fucking dross is what it's been. Spence tries a long straight ball. It's beautiful, and it's actually really well defended because James Maddison had made a beautiful deep run. And we have a corner, and there's only 20 seconds left of this half. So don't piss around with this. Just get it in the box towards the big men. Here it comes, the in-swinger. Someone's gone down in the box. And he's given a free kick. Of course he has, even though he didn't see fucking anything. And that, I'm sure, will be half-time. That is half-time, guys. Absolutely appalling from Tottenham Hotspur. AZ 1, Tottenham 0. Just very briefly, I'm going to go to the toilet, and I'll be back with you for a review of that half-time. Hi guys, I'm back. Thank you for sticking with me, although why anybody would want to stick with this at the moment is beyond me. An absolutely shameful first half of a European last 16 first leg tie, playing into the hands of the opposition, who you know are going to keep it tight. You know it's going to be their biggest game of the season. You know they're standing up for Dutch football after the results that the Dutch teams have had this week. And Tottenham have just been second to everything, not as hard in the 50-50s. How many times this season, can I just say, Tottenham, especially in their own box, when there are hard tackles to be won, all over the pitch, in fact, just go in softly and lose 50-50s. And it's happened time and time again tonight. They've just shown no motivation, no desire, no willingness to match the motivation of the opposition. And I just find it absolutely shameful. I really do. I think it's absolutely embarrassing. I'm just going to go into the comments before I go into what happened in that first half, because most of the notes that I've made in that first half is actually just me saying how bad Tottenham have been. Declan Littleford says wingers are not on it, midfield is shaky and no real threat. That sums it up. John Lancaster, terrible half. That free kick routine could be used in your stand-up. That free kick could be used in your stand-up routine. Yeah. Literally the best chance we had all half. Madders wins a free kick just outside the box. And for some reason, they're like, yeah, let's not have a shot here. It's like 23 yards out. What are you talking about? You only do a free kick routine like that if it's 30 yards out. Completely mental. Deary me. TSOM says the wings are the issue. Yeah, we got no ability to hold it up in the final third. The danger I feel now actually is, well, twofold. Firstly, for me, we have to stay in this game. We have to stay within one goal of them going back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, right? That's how I feel about it. So we can't have Ange saying you've got to chase the game. But also, if we play the same way we did that first half, we're liable to lose another goal from a set piece and it will be 2-0. And then they will chase it and then it might be 3-0. And they did beat Galatasaray 4-1 in the first leg of their playoff. So we've got to be really careful with this. Steve Dyer says, shocking. KDK says, this is us when Decky's not on the pitch. Show Me Light says, so bad. Tom Bowdler, did you go to the toilet to throw up? I didn't, but yeah, it was that bad. Mace 106, front three, rubbish. TSOM again says, it's not Ange's fault the players can't communicate properly. What's the communication about? Like, you mean at the corner, maybe? Scott Lash says, looks like 4-0 to AZ. No guts, no glory. Says, AZ are way down in the league. We're meant to be far better than this AZ crap. I think they're 4th or 5th in the league. We're way down the league, to be honest. Patch Thomas agrees with me. Absolute dross. Ange lineup and tactics for this game are moronic. Patch, let me know in the comments what you think the lineup should be. Joey Page, my mate. So good to see all the players back and rested and really trying. Yeah. I mean, sums it up, doesn't it? Just listen, some of these games in Europe, just trying to be a bit more positive, some of these games in Europe can be like this. They can be, and you need to take your moments. But this is where Tottenham don't have enough leadership. Somebody like Sonny has to say when we have that free kick, no, make the keeper work. Make the keeper work. And again, I have to say, this is what maddens me. We knew they were going to be a deep block team. We knew they were going to play 11 men behind the ball when we had it. So that's where we need a player like Odegaard out wide right, wide left. We know Sonny's not going to beat his man one-on-one. And Sonny's not been in this game. And every time he has ran at the box, which I think was pretty much only once, he then has a shot when he should lay in a doggy. And then the other thing I was going to mention in terms of what I fear for this, he's obviously got those options on the bench, Solanke, Van der Ven, Romero, etc. Is he going to be like panic and bring them on too early and then they're going to get injured? Adrian Tierney in the comments says, don't worry, Levy will keep Ange another year, buy more dross at £50 million, then raise season tickets and a limited force shirt at only £150. Okay, I'm going to go through the notes I made during that first half, but it's embarrassing. I made an early note in the first minute of how high AZ were pressing us. That's something we've struggled with the whole game. Pressed to death, I've mentioned a few times. An inability on that pitch in this atmosphere to keep the ball in midfield and not allow them to win it off us regularly. Third minute, big chance for AZ. Too easy down the left to get a cross in. They had a chance at the near post that was wide. Parrott, I think it was, getting at the near post. And how many times, not only in this game, but in this season, do Tottenham have an inability to mark in their right back position? And tonight it's Spence, and he's not being helped by Johnson. And Spence, and actually it's Bentancur who's come across to help him a few times. They are not communicating well. That is fair to say. And therefore AZ 3, 4, 5 times got in down the left. And it's because they analyze the games that Spurs play. And they're like, well, Spurs concede loads of goals down the left-hand side. So they get in down the left time and time again. And Ange doesn't change it. And he doesn't help himself. And I'll say it again. I'd love it to work out for Ange Postecoglou. But it doesn't help him where we concede the same chances every single time. And now actually on the at half-time, the pundits are saying AZ attacking down the left. They've just shown the chance in the first minute, then the chance after about 5 minutes where he should have put it in the net in the left-hand side. They're doubling up on Spence every time down the left. Every single time. Another cross block. That's for the corner that then the goal comes from. No marking at the back post. I've said it all season. We never mark our back post. Unlucky shank off Bergvall, but that is what happens. That was the 10th minute, the huge chance for AZ down the left. Shoots it where he should have put it in the far corner. Danso had actually given the ball away in midfield because we were being pressed high. 13th minute, I made a note. Not a pretty start from Spurs. Very bitty game. Exactly how AZ Alkmaar would want it. 14th minute, great front foot defending from Archie Gray. Intercepted a pass, then drove forward, but then unfortunately kicked it off the pitch. 15th minute, long shot from Son. But when I say long, I mean long. It was from 40 yards out. Now they're showing the replay of the one-on-one where Parrott should have put them 2-0 up. Great save from Vicario. And I have to say, it was Danso keeping Parrott onside there. And maybe that just comes from the fact that he hasn't played with this team for that long. He wasn't with his defenders. 16th minute, I've made a note. Too easy for AZ to chip balls into midfield from their back line and take it down in midfield with nobody around them. Again, Spurs just showing by pressing in the wrong way that we leave too much space in midfield. 17th minute, the goal. 22nd minute, Tottenham's best play. Started from a great run from Danso from defence, taking out a load of players in the block. Ended up getting to the right-hand byline. Cross was into the keeper's arms. 23rd minute, shocking defending from Spurs led to a shot blocked from Parrott by Gray. Then a shot from the left-hand side forward. Kubo, I think it is, hacked wide. 25th minute, Spurs being completely outplayed is the note that I've made. 26th minute, Tell, first chance to run at the box on the right-hand side. And for me, his first chance really to run at the defence since he's been at Spurs. Heavy touch, easily tackled. Poor. Would not surprise me if he came off quite soon. 27th minute, first corner for Spurs. Bergvall headed it wide at the near post. Half an hour gone. Son ran at the box and has a shot when he shouldn't have done. Blocked. Should have passed it. Then that's when Parrott got in with his one-on-one. Great save from Vicario with his feet. 32nd minute, beautiful for Madders. Ran the length of the pitch. He was fouled about 3 times. They should have had bookings for those fouls. Won a free kick just outside the box. And then after a minute of waiting around, the free kick absolutely wasted as they try and play some ridiculous 1 or 2 touch move around the box. And in the end, it ends up with Kevin Danso trying to chip a ball over the top from 22 yards out. What the hell is going on? 35th minute, I've made a note. Spurs playing some maddening football in their own half. 38th minute, Brendan Johnson, left-footed shot over the bar. At this point was so bad, I didn't even mind that he had a left-footed shot. It came from Sonny getting to the byline and getting a cross in. That was the first time he managed that in the game. 40th minute, I've made a note. Tottenham have been so poor. 42nd minute, too easy for AZ to get down the left. Again, Danso has to block the cross. 43rd minute, from that resulting corner. Terrible defending from Spurs. AZ should have scored maybe a couple of times. In the end, a big block from Bergvall, who maybe makes up for his own goal. And then from the transition, a chance for Madders in the box, but actually good defending from AZ Alkmaar. And then in added time, a long ball over the top from Spence. Beautiful long ball. Nearly found a deep run from Madders, but it was good defending again from AZ. AZ have only had to really do 2 bits of good defending because Spurs have been so poor. Junior says, sub Sonny, sub Tell, put in Odobert or Moore and Scarlett or Solanke, I assume you mean. TSOM says, Maddison, Tell, Johnson and Son not working together. Johnson and Son have been an issue all season. No crosses coming in and neither of them beating their man. I'd hate to be a striker in our team. Do you know what? That's a really good point. We don't make chances for our strikers at all. We haven't made Tell a single chance, really. Just the one half chance that he scored against Aston Villa. Solanke, you know, he's mainly only scored goals from rebounds this season. And it's true. We don't make chances for them. Rubiet says, hi, Barnaby. I guess we need to bring on Dom Solanke after half-time. What substitutions would you make? Well, listen, Dom Solanke has been injured, though. So I don't think we can really say to him, you have to come and change this game. Because really, I think Ange will be looking to give him 15 minutes, 20 minutes max. And I really fear that we're basically going to fall into this trap of playing the same way, hoping we get something from a set piece, which maybe we could. Maybe, but we're not very good at set pieces. And then maybe they'll nick another goal. And then we're 2-0 down. And then he'll bring on, you wait, Odebear, Van der Ven, Romero, Solanke all at once. 4-man substitution probably, maybe one other. And then 1 or 2 of them will get injured probably. I don't know. Nick Driftwood says, second half better get better, else it's goodbye, Ange. Junior says, okay, not Solanke, put in Scarlett. Just can't see it happening. And then Phil C agrees with me. Ange will change it when it's 2-0. I think you might be right. Sommer, I can't read your first name there, mate, but says Maddison is always holding the ball. I mean, at least he's trying to get on the ball. Nobody else is. I have to say about Lucas Bergwall, not because of the own goal, by the way, which I think was just unlucky, but he has just been out of sorts today. His touch, it's been so heavy and poor and scrappy. K7 saying Danso is really bad. I'm not sure about that. I think that's a bit harsh. Charles Preston, James Maddison is not good enough. Roy Keane was right. Dan Lynch says, awful first half. How many times have we seen this season? We saw pathetic first half only last Thursday. I hope we see something a lot different second half. I'll tell you, we're not going to see something a lot different unless we nick a goal somehow from something magical or a set piece. And one of the problems we've had all season is we haven't had enough magic on the pitch. How many goals have we seen scored from outside the box? Barely any. How many brilliant goals? Barely any. We only score goals really from that kind of Ange drill. Get it to the byline, cut it back, get it into the box in between the keeper and the back four. And we're not going to get many opportunities at that because they're playing so deep. And that's why we've lost this season to Palace, to Ipswich, to all of those teams who play exactly like this. And that's why, to me, we have to stay in the game. We have to take it back to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium with only 1 goal in it. Otherwise, we are fucked. And I'm sorry to swear about it, but we're fucked. And Ange is fucked if that's what happens. Connor Smith says, Spurs were awful that first half. Far too much passing back to defence. Does Bentancur know the goal is in the opposite direction? Just don't think he's got many options. Being pressed. They're just showing the Rangers goals. Oh, beautiful first goal from Rangers. Little 1-2 in the box. Deary me. As the AZ players come back out onto the pitch. TSOM says, Maddison is a sulky wimp. I hate to say it, but that is what he's shown us all season. So, Odebear is coming on at halftime for Matthias Tell. So, Sonny will go on into the 9 and Odebear will go wide left. And I'm telling you now, Sonny has about 25 minutes max probably to do something here because he will bring on Solanke eventually. Odebear should give us something different against a low block, which we need. But it's a big ask to put all the pressure on him. But Tell has not been in this game. And like we talked about, we don't make chances for our strikers. So no chance for him to be a fox in the box. But this is played exactly how AZ would want it at the moment. About to kick off. Spurs kicking from right to left in this second half. And it started now. Udogie on the ball. Loses it easily in a 50-50 again. And they're in down the right-hand channel. But Danso puts the afterburners on and sees it out for a goal kick. But too easily and too regularly, we lose the ball in central midfield. And of course, Geordie Classen, who used to play for Southampton, playing against a Premier League team, having his best game for ages. Now, Archie Gray, Jesus fucking Christ, Tottenham. Archie Gray pressed in his own box, so has to play a dodgy ball with his left foot over the top towards Danso, who in the end has to stretch to kick it out of play. Fucking shit this is. None of the central midfielders showing for Archie Gray when he has the ball in his own box. What are they fucking thinking? That's a foul on Udogie that the ref doesn't give, but Udogie stays strong. Gives it into Bentancur. Finds Bergwall. His first touch isn't good. Gives another dodgy ball to Gray. Has to go back to Vicario. He's pressed by Parrott. He plays it out wide to Spence. It's actually a good ball. And Spence does well down the line. But Johnson cannot get there ahead of his defender. So far, cliche time, but they're more up for this game than we are. It's a fact. Tottenham being complacent. Exactly what we called for them not to be. The AZ more up for it. Embarrassing us at the moment. I'm surprised Bergvall's still on the pitch because his touch has not looked good in this game. Spence uses his feet well there, but then loses it in a 50-50. Oh, and AZ taking the piss a bit here now on the left-hand side. Deary me. Deary me. 47 minutes gone. Geordie Classy, ex-Southampton, playing against a Premier League team, wanting to prove how good he can be. Spurs win a throw-in this time. Tottenham just look lethargic. None of them taking responsibility. Come on! Spence taking his time over this throw-in. No options, of course, because we've got no big man to throw it to. So he goes short to Bergvall, gives it back to him. Now Spence needs options. Goes down the line. Gray given another dodgy ball. Across to Vicario, who's being pressed. Gives it to Danso, who's being pressed. Who gives it to Udogie. And Tottenham actually deal with that quite well. A heavy ball from Udogie, though. Goes straight to AZ in central midfield. Bergvall presses high. And as a result, AZ able to get out pretty easily and just pop it about. Oh, and they play an easy ball into central midfield. And Bergvall gets a footing. Good stuff from Bergvall, though. Wins it back. And now Tottenham are driving. Odebear is outside him on his left, but Bergvall comes in narrow. And he has a shot in the end. And it's not bad, just wide. I don't think he should have had a shot, but it's not bad in the end, just wide. The ball just fades away from the left-hand post in the end, or right-hand post as Bergvall looks at it. Well, Spurs have won it high here. Then a terrible ball from Udogie, but Spurs have kept it. And now Odebear down the left. Plays in Udogie. He's at the byline. Cuts it back. Oh, and Sonny just came across the front stick. And in the end, that's the thing. If you get it in the box, AZ will panic. And good. Oh, Spence gets a foul given away from him, which was shoulders. That was shoulders from Spence, but the ref gives a foul, which he shouldn't have done. Jed Spence gives it the full one of those, showing his time at Genoa. But that shows to me, when we get it in the box, AZ panicked. Oh, now AZ have the ball. Oh, and Archie Gray. Okay, he turns away well in the end and clears it. Good stuff from him. He was under pressure in his own box there, but Gray turned away well and cleared it down the line. Bergvall has started this half better than he played the first half, that's for sure. 50 minutes gone. Spence with a throw in. Madder's not giving him an option. No one really giving him an option. So he goes back. Gives a horrible throw to Gray. Goes back to Spence. Oh, dearie me. Tries to get it down the line, but it goes off for a Spurs goal kick. And Vicario gives a dodgy ball to Danso. Goes back to Gray. And this is where Tottenham are in trouble because they're getting pressed so high and Spence loses it. Oh, he does well. Second ball from Spence. Then loses it again. And now AZ are running at our box. Big chance on the edge of the box here. Heavy touch kind of saves us a bit. Odebear working back. Deary me. Spence lost the ball twice there. A little bit lethargic. Good block from Bergvall there. Odebear's got to be strong. Does well, Odebear in central midfield. And now Johnson, is it? No, it's Sonny. Finds Odebear down the left. And he has his first chance to run at the back line. And Sonny's trying to get outside him. He gives it too early to Sonny in my eyes. But Sonny now running in the box. Cuts outside. Chance for Sonny here. Big chance for Sonny. Hits it wide and over. He was in his exact trademark position there, Sonny. And you're just expecting him to hit it into the top corner almost, but he hits it wide and over. And then a big long goal kick, and Archie Gray gives a free kick to AZ just inside Tottenham's half. Goes through the back of Troy Parrott. Oh, and AZ just play through Tottenham's press now. Oh, chance at the back post. Loads of bodies in the box here. Chance at the back post again for AZ. Great save from Vicario at the near post. Unbelievable save. Wow. Too many bodies, and Spurs just again in their own box. Oh, what a save. Good stuff from Bergvall. Breaks us through in midfield, though. Now he's driving. Keep going, Lucas. Keep going, Lucas. Now give. And he gives it to Johnson. It comes just behind Johnson, but Johnson's now on the ball. Udogi now finds Madders, who we need to get on the ball more. Out to Odobert. First touch. No, 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 no! Odobert tries to find an inside ball to Udogi, and it's straight to the keeper. And all the biggest chances, you've got to say so far anyway, as Bergvall comes through the middle. Brilliant from Bergvall. He's fouled from behind there, and the ref doesn't give it. But all the best chances have fallen to AZ. Danso now. Gives it to Udogi, who finds Madders inside left. Goes to Odobert, goes back to Maddison. 2,000 of you watching concurrently, guys. If you're watching, thank you so much for your support. Do press like on this video and press subscribe on Chris's channel and my channel. Mine's in the bottom left. Chris is at Chris Cowlin. As Johnson tries to play a cross-field ball, and it's so bad. Picked off, and as a result, AZ are so easily just with 1-1-2. They're in down the right-hand side, and Danso is massively out of position here. They're at the byline, chips it to the back post. It goes all the way back. So poor from Johnson, trying to do something that was not in his locker. And that is what AZ are just waiting for. Spurs just doing stupid shit. AZ still have the ball now. Spurs have bodies back. At this point, I'm kind of just hoping Spurs keep it till about the 70th minute and then bring on their big guns. Just hope that we can nick something from a set piece or from Solanke holding it up or something. Just, we are so shit. People talking, including me, about us potentially winning this tournament. Fuck off. Give me strength. As they just play a straight ball down the middle. Danso's turned his back. Parrott's in now, just in the inside right channel. Holds it up. He's still got too much space. And they're in down the left if they want to be. And here it comes. And Spencer's got to get out to him here. He does eventually. Cuts inside. Edge of the box now. It's going to be class and fancies a shot, but it doesn't. Keeps the ball. And now they're in down the right. Oh, good stuff. They're in the box now. Oh, dearie me. Maddison nearly tried to tackle. Deep cross. And Johnson just jogging. Fucking get out there, you prick. AZ just popping it about now. And Spurs just on their heels. 55 minutes gone. Fucking hell. Oh, my God. They're in again down the right. Behind Udogi. He gets it out for a corner. It's going to be an outswinger. Comes to the near post. Oh, God, it was nearly the fucking Anderton-Sheringham corner. And clearance went to Odobert. But we've lost it straight away already. They're just quicker to every 50-50. They want it more. more motivated, more desire. And we just have to stay in it somehow. But we're not going to if it stays like this, because they know that they have us on the ropes. It's so ugly at the moment. They're toying with us. There you go. Dipped in down the line. Oh, tell you what, huge from a doggy there, but then made the wrong choice and goes back to Vicario. He goes short to Gray, who's under pressure here, and plays a terrible ball. And that has to be strong from Bentancur, and it's not. They're in the box. It's over the bar. And once again, Vicario with the ball at his feet, asking Danso to give him a better option. And now he goes to Danso. But Danso's first touch isn't great, but he goes down the line to Udogi, which is better. Udogi goes to Maddison, flicks it down the line to Odobert. I think Maddison has won a free kick there. We need a bit of magic. We miss Kulusevski, to say the least. Anyway, Spurs on the ball with Bentancur. And as ever, a lot of our stuff just sideways and backwards as AZ just have us in a position where they're defending so easily and pressing us in midfield. Danso plays it across to Bentancur. 58 minutes gone. Bentancur finds Johnson, who's been frankly appalling in this game, and I like Brennan Johnson, but as ever, when he's not in the positions to do the things he's good at, he doesn't do much at all. Spence coming in the midfield to try and get on the ball now. Udogi doing the same. Spence trying to move them around a little bit. Man United have scored against Sociedad away. That's impressive. Comes all the way back to Danso's first touch is dodgy and he's fouled from behind, fortunately, from Parrott. Tries to do it quickly, blocked by Parrott, who should, frankly, be yellow carded. Parrott putting himself about, as you'd expect, against his former club. Ref being pretty lenient there. But what Parrott did cleverly there was stop Spurs from taking their free kick quickly and wasted time. Tottenham fall into that trap time and time again. Bergvall finds Johnson. He's pressed straight away. Bergvall has given him another line and Johnson comes in narrow. That's better from Johnson. And he's fouled. He was fouled. Fucking ref says he got the ball and he never fucking did. Oh, now they take their free kick, their throw in quickly. And as a result, and then he gives a free kick in central midfield. Fuck off. And of course, Parrott stays on the floor pretending to be injured. Playing into their hands. "61 minutes gone. Just got to hope that Tottenham find a way to nick a fucking goal in this game and stay in it, one goal in it at least. Because it's been so poor so far. Odobert, heavy touch, loses it. Danso has to help him out. And then Odobert loses it to Parrott again, weakly. And Parrott's dived on the floor again and wins another free kick. Yellow card for Bentancur. And don't shout at him, Bentancur. He's shouting at the referee. Oh, it's not a good tackle from Bentancur. Frankly, Bentancur, use your fucking leadership to get the team working better rather than shouting at the referee. And now Bentancur's out for the next leg. Fucking idiot. Just wasting our own time, you fuckwit. And it's a free kick and a chance for AZ to get the ball into the box. Bergvall having a word with Bentancur. It should be the other fucking way round, you idiot. Stop shouting at the referee, Bentancur. Stop it. Yeah. Glenn Hoddle saying how he's got to watch himself. Okay, they've taken the free kick now. And here it comes, the big one. Oh, tell you what, it's too easy. Bentancur has to clear it. Comes to outside the box. Left-footed shot. Oof, deflected wide. Corner to AZ. It's Archie Gray who gets a block on it. Probably important in the end. I'm not sure it would have gone in, but better safe than sorry. Alkmaar taking so long over their set pieces. What a surprise. You would though, wouldn't you? You just would. I think they're going to score another one, you know, guys. And then Tottenham are going to panic. We might end up losing this 3-0. They've done it quick. Oh, too easy down the right. They're playing good stuff, AZ. But anyway, Spurs get rid of it. Oh, but badly. Oh my God. How bad are we? How bad are we? Something has to change. We're so bad. Just giving it away all the time. And it's not the pitch because AZ are not. That's our throw. And then Doggy's lost his cool on the touchline. Madison complaining to the ref. He needs to concentrate on his own fucking game. It's not even in this match. None of them are. Just been pulled in. It's like I've said on every watch along this season. This is why we lose to Palace and Ipswich and all these teams who play 11 behind the ball. We get sucked into their game. This team have analysed those games and the manager said, get in their faces, dive on the floor, roll around, nick a goal, and you will win the game. And that is what's going to happen. Spurs are so shit. And Bentancur, again, Odebear had done well, gets it to Bentancur. First touch just goes backwards. Completely fucking pointless. We didn't need to. Good stuff down the right there from Spence. And that should be a booking. And it is a booking. At last. Great stuff from Spence being brave there. AZ making a substitution. Smith coming on for Cassius, I think it is. Bentancur in midfield. Just looks all the time like AZ have more players on the pitch than Spurs. Spence in midfield now, asked to do a lot of work. The pressing is so high. Oh my God, it's so shit. Ange, you have to fucking change something, mate. It's crap. It's fucking crap. Jesus Christ. Danso. Out to Doggy. Another pass behind him, so he has to go backwards. He loses the ball, but he's fouled. Madison now on the left-hand side. He has Odebear outside him. He runs inside for him. So Maddis comes narrow. Doggy now making another run outside him. 3 of them in this little tight space here, and Odebear loses it, and it's a throw-in. Tottenham have been utter dog shit. We look like the 15th best team in the Premier League tonight, I have to say. And it's 66 minutes gone. And all I can think is he's waiting till 70 or 75 to bring on some of those players who've been injured. Brennan Johnson, good first touch. Plays it down the line to Spence. Chance for a cross here. Cuts inside and he's fouled there, Jed Spence. And that should be a booking as well and is. Good work from Spence. Now a chance for Spurs. It's a wide free kick. So, wide free kick. But basically just like a corner. And we're not great. We don't score many from these. This is actually a kind of area where I think do something a little bit different. Whereas in the first half, when he was 23 yards out and had a shot on goal, he shouldn't have done. Come on. Good delivery here, Spurs. Come on. He dinks it. Easily cleared. Fucking dross. Comes to Spence, who's being pressed. Has to turn away here, Jed. Oh, and doesn't. Just passes it. And now AZ and Spurs have given away a foul. And AZ were on the transition. Honestly, this is one of the worst performances I've seen from a Tottenham team. And I've seen so many Tottenham performances like this in Europe. Basically under every manager except, well, probably including, but mainly except Pochettino. It's Maddison who gives away the foul there on Klassen. But this is up there. This will... Ange and Tottenham are going to get absolute pelters after this game. And Tottenham just let the long ball come through. In the end, it was Bentancur challenging for him. He just turned his back on it. Doggy challenges. And it's a throw into AZ. 70 minutes gone now. And there are some players on the bench about to come on. Sarr is one of them. I can see. Why? Fucking need some technical ability on here. I don't know. Maybe he can break the line somehow from deep. That's all I can think. Oh, Doggy has just lost the ball, but he wins the foul. And again, like I said, all opposition teams know that they just have to get in our face, foul us. Solanke is coming on as well. And we've lost the ball already. Fucking shite. And they're in down the midfield. Good tackle, but it breaks again to AZ because they've got more desire. Doggy wins the header. They're just first to every ball, AZ. Just Spurs jogging around. Bergvall, Maddison, everyone jogging around. Gray clears it. But up to no one because it's just Son. Oh my God. And they come through midfield. It's too easy for them. Oh, terrible foul from Udogie. But he plays play on the ref. And now they've got a crossing chance. Goes over the bar. Dross. Oh no, it hasn't gone over the bar. And Spence keeps it in maddeningly. What are we doing? Tell you what, if we get away with a 1-0 here, it's an absolute miracle. Oh my God. Tottenham are so shit. Do the substitutions. He is doing the substitutions. 70th minute. Sarr and Solanke on. Oh, and Porro. I think it's Udogie. Is that 13? Who else then? Son's coming off. He's been fucking dog shit, I'm afraid, guys. Horrible. I guess at least now we can play a bit more direct. And I wonder if Sarr will come on for Madders. He does love to take Maddison off early, but that would lead to no creators. He is taking Maddison off. Yeah, he's left Bentancur on a yellow. Maddison comes off. Literally no creativity in here now. He's just hoping to, like, physical it out with a bit more legs from deep from Sarr. Madders does not look happy. I mean, Madders hasn't played well. So I can't fight for him, but Fucking hell. And Spurs, straight away from the throw-in, give the ball, like kick the ball off Bentancur. How? This is so shit. Sociedad have equalised against Man United. In Sociedad. Archie Gray does well. Porro clears it. Solanke challenges. And AZ just hit it high. Gray. Bergvall chance to get it down. And then slips. And they're just first to every ball. And that's why we're giving away so many fouls. Because we're second to everything. And Bergvall does well. Bergvall wins it now. Okay. Now, can you find someone? There's no real huge options for him here, so he's going to have to turn away eventually, I would have thought. Johnson just running away from him aimlessly. So Bergvall drives at it and gives it to Johnson, who can cut inside. Brilliant from Bergvall there. And then Johnson goes backwards. It's wasted. But now he gets it back. And Bentancur, but no, Bergvall is off the pitch, injured. So we kick the ball off. Looks like he's hurt his ribs here, Bergvall. Oh, yeah, he's been elbowed in the ribs from Klaassen. I think he'll go off here. This might be the end of his season as well if that's a broken rib. He's in agony off the pitch here, Bergvall. And Klaassen was naughty there, showing his experience, getting an elbow into him. Really cunty move from Klaassen. He's trying to play on Bergvall. Maybe he's only winded. Maddison whinging on the bench. And Spurs were in a decent position there, but because he was fouled, basically, Spurs lost the ball. Porro does well there. Gives it inside to Bentancur. Of course, first, or just wants to go backwards, Bentancur, you useless prick. Fucking go forwards, you cunt. Sorry, but just so bad today. And now we've got Sarr on with him, who's going to just go sideways as well. Good ball from Gray down the line into Porro. He tries a left-footed ball up towards Sarr. What a bizarre ball that was. Anyway, the second one comes to Spence. And then AZ clear it. And Spurs went, and Solanke presses the centre-half well, but the centre-half deals with it well. Oh, my God, and AZ. But Dancer does really well with a good tackle there. But they're in down the right now. "75 minutes gone. 15 minutes left of this utter dross. Tottenham, shit. Utter shit. Should probably be 3-0 down and out of the tournament here. And you know AZ will just play exactly the same way at our place, and the fans will get on our back. Spence being fouled from behind, facing his own goal. Goes to Danso. He goes down the line to Odebear. Good luck with that, Odebear. Fucking hell. Danso actually does quite well, really well. And Sarr goes backwards! I don't know if I can talk through this, honestly. Maybe it's me. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Odebear on the left. Just loses it. Runs inside. They know exactly what he's going to do every time. And then when they get it, they just let the ball do the work. And Spurs don't let the ball do the work. Long ball over the top to Parrott. He's nearly in, but Gray deals with it quite well. And then Johnson holds it up to Bergvall. His first touch isn't great, but he does well in the second ball. Gives it to Spence, who's now on the left-hand side, who will give it to Odebear, I'm sure. Oh, puts Odebear in. He's got a bit of space to run into now on the left. But he comes back, of course he does, onto his right foot to Sarr, who comes across, and now they have all their men back. Bentancur, first touch backwards. Fuck off. Honestly. Spurs just kicking it about aimlessly sideways. Now we're all the way back in our own half. Spence tries something different with a dink over the top. Great run from Solanke. At least we're in their box now. He holds it up. Gives it back to Odobert, who, of course, goes backwards straight away. Spence, inside to Solanke. Lays it off to him. Back to Spence. Some close footwork from Jed. But they're all behind the ball. Back to Archie Gray. Spurs a little higher up now for the first time. But trying to play it backwards. Trying desperately to play it backwards. Trying desperately to push themselves backwards. Comes to Odobert. First touch is heavy. Back to Danso. Just allowing AZ to push us all the way back every time. Bentancur refuses to take it on the half turn. Sideways to Porro. So, yeah, and Hoddle's saying it on co-commentary. Just so safe. Fucking pussies is what they are. Spence tries something different again, but it's easily cleared. And Spurs have no creativity on the pitch now. No Maddison, no Kulusevski. In this game, not a single shot on target from Tottenham Hotspur. Heavy touch from Danso. And he loses it. Danso got away with one a bit there because he recovered. I thought it was a foul. Sarr with the sideways pass. Not a single player, really, other than maybe Bergvall on the pitch. Certainly in midfield, who's willing to go forward and pass forward. Porro, though. No, it's Johnson now. Goes inside to Bergvall. Tries to lay it back to Johnson. Too heavy. Goal kick. And in classic style, a team against us trying to play in this way. An AZ player goes down with cramp or pretending he has cramp. "12 minutes to go and this absolute shite fest." AZ now bringing on a couple of subs again. 3 subs, in fact. Long goal kick from AZ. Danso and Sarr go up for it together. And the ball's chipped over the top of Archie Gray, and Parrott's got wrong side, and Danso had to really help Gray out there. And Gray does brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly, and then finds Bergvall on the right. It's a bit heavy, though. Bergvall dives in, but that has led to some space for Spurs. And Johnson out wide right. He's on his own, though. Oh, my God. Well, his first move was terrible, and then he gives away a foul. Now AZ make the subs. This has just been so bad. Over 2,500 of you. Parrot goes off, by the way. Over 2,500 of you watching. Thank you so much for your support, guys. Really appreciate it. Do press that like button if you haven't already. And press subscribe to Chris's channel at Chris Cowlin, and mine, you can see it in the bottom left there, at Barnaby Slater _. Long goal kick from AZ. They've been very direct, certainly since they got their lead. Danso wins a header, but again, the second ball falls to AZ, and they're in down the left. There's no one in the box at the moment. But he gets a cross in. Oh, my God. And Jed Spence, in trying to clear it, and actually looked like it was offside, because in trying to clear it, he hacks it over his own bar, nearly for an own goal. But it was offside anyway, thank God. He wouldn't have been offside. If that had been an own goal, it would have counted. Oh, good stuff from Bergvall. Sets in Porro down the right. And Porro tries a big, long ball over the top, and it's well defended. And on the very few occasions that Spurs have even got into the last third, you got to say, AZ have dealt with this incredibly easily. Incredibly easily. Embarrassingly easily. And another big long kick from the AZ keeper. They know that Archie Gray struggles under all of this. Of course he does. Not even a centre half. Tottenham miss out on a 50-50 in the midfield again. Whereas AZ just play one pass through the middle. This has been unbearable to watch. What a load of shit this has been. Honestly. They play a long throw over the top of Jed Spence. He uses his strength well. Now he's got to get rid of it. Now you've got to get rid of it, Jed. Jesus Christ, what is he trying? Eventually wins a free kick, but... And we take it quickly, and Bentancur is pressed. So passes it backwards, of course, to Gray, who's pressed, to Porro, who's pressed, goes down the line to Johnson, who won't keep it. Oh, he does this time, plays it inside to Bergvall, who's pressed and loses it. I guess it hit the referee here because it's a drop ball. Can Tottenham somehow make a chance in this game? They haven't really so far, but there's 6 minutes left. And Spence again trying something different with the ball over the top, but it's dog shit. Fucking... This is the worst game I've ever seen from Tottenham. And by God, down the years have I seen some utter shit. And just standing there on the bench. Danso wins another header. Solanke working hard, and at least by putting his body in the way in the last third, wins us a throw-in. Throws it to Sarr, who doesn't take any responsibility, and Solanke ends up heading their player on the head. And you know he's okay because he's purposely rolled back onto the pitch. Glenn Hoddle on CoCom saying how Spurs have to defend for their lives. I feel sorry for people like Chris Cowlin, all the Spurs fans who are out there just watching this utter tripe. 5 minutes to go. Would not surprise me a bit if AZ score a second here and basically put an end to our tournament. Solanke working hard, but AZ dealing with us easily. And they clear it long from the keeper again. Danso wins the first one. Sarr tries to get the ball down, is tackled. And we lose it in midfield again. Utter shit. And it goes back to the keeper. You know, we'll just... Oh, he does play this one a bit shorter. And then they easily break the press of Odebear, who has been poor since come on. And then they go for the long ball over the top. Danso wins the first one. Spence with the second, but we've got no strength in midfield. Bergvall loses it. And then tries to win it. And then they're in down the left. And they're in at the byline. Big chance. Good defending from Archie Gray. Corner. He's had 6th corner. Tottenham have had 2. Into the 87th minute. It's an in-swinger. Here it comes. All the way. Free header at the back post again. Oh my God, just embarrassing. And then it comes out, dinks it over the top. And actually, Solanke clears it for another corner. Can't see Tottenham beating this team by 2 clear goals away from back at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I'll tell you that right now. We only beat them 1-0 in the group stage. They take the corner short this time. I'm just playing it around. Here comes the cross. Cleared at the near post. And actually, we managed to get that down. I'll give a good pass here. And he does. But it's Bentancur. He plays a good ball to Johnson. Is it Johnson? I don't know who it is. Oh my God, what the fuck was that? I think he had a shot, whoever that was, in the end. Odebear, maybe. Not sure, but it was bizarre. Spurs fighting for the ball outside the box. Solanke loses it, but we get it back in central midfield. Bergvall into Sarr. Plays it out wide to Spence, who's at least getting towards the box now. Gets to the byline, Sarr. Spence cuts it back. Comes to Sarr. He's going to have a dig here, Sarr. Oh, no, he doesn't. Rolls it across to Bentancur. And more sideways passing from Spurs because they've got so many bodies behind the ball. Bergvall now. Comes back narrow. Gives a bit of a dodgy ball to Sarr. Comes back to Danso. To Bentancur, who nearly loses it. Comes through the middle. Could win a foul here. Good stuff from Bentancur. The best bit of play. Gets out wide right to Porro, who should maybe have crossed it first time. Does come in the end, and they're able to clear it. Up to the halfway line to Archie Gray. Bit of pressure from Spurs, as Glenn Hoddle says, first time. Sarr finds Odebear running at 2 men now. He's got Spence behind him. Just runs into the bodies. He's been poor. But the clearance falls to Sarr. Good tackle from Sarr. 50-50 to Bentancur. He's looking behind him. Wants to pass it behind him. Don't pass it behind him. Eventually comes across to Spence. Can you get a cross in here, Jed? Chooses not to Sarr. Spurs just walking on the ball. Sarr across to Bentancur. Of course, goes backwards. How many times have I mentioned how Bentancur just wants to go backwards every time? It's been fucking awful from him. Porro into Johnson. Went to the 90th minute. Bentancur. Johnson does well. Comes narrow. Tries a cross into the keeper's arms too easily. And Solanke is injured. So Johnson chipped up the cross, and Solanke goes for it, and he gets an elbow. Sorry, he gets a knee in the kind of lower back. Three minutes added time. Solanke is still down. Why is it taking this long to get the physio on for him? Well, there'll be more than 3 minutes added because Solanke is still down. Looks to me like an impact injury, kind of a dead leg vibe, but in the bottom of his back, but you just don't know. If I was to tell you that Tottenham Hotspur have been embarrassing in this game, I would be giving you one of the biggest understatements. And Solanke is limping off. Scarlett coming on. I'm hopeful it's an impact injury. Scarlett comes on. Tottenham now have a throw in the left back position with Jed Spence. Throws it down the line. Scarlett does well. Get another throw. Solanke is limping off the side of the pitch. There's a knee in his back from the keeper. It's great. Plays it across to Porro. He's completely on his own, so has to go long. Up to who? Brennan Johnson, so it just goes off the pitch. Don't forget, guys, I'll be doing an instant match reaction straight after this game, followed by chatting to some Spurs fans from all around the world, and that should be, to say the least, pretty interesting. And Glenn Hoddle saying he thinks Spurs has a chance in the second leg. I don't think we do, actually. I don't think we're going to win this tie now. I really don't. Fucking lucky there's no away goals. Oh, I'll tell you what, the keeper stayed home there. But he comes and gets it eventually. Well, we've passed 3 minutes added, but I don't know how much is extra. Solanke looks in serious pain. Their keeper again goes long. Gray wins the first one. It's another Spurs throw. Oh, God. Gray just gave a bit of a dodgy ball to Danso. Gives a dodgy ball to Spence. His first touch is great, though. Comes narrow, Jed. He's got drive here. And that's a yellow card. So Spurs have a free kick in central midfield. Just a chance to get the ball in the box somehow, I reckon. See if they can do something. But no, they play the normal bollocks and lose the ball. What a crock of shit this whole game has been. Fucking idiots. Bergvall, backwards. Gray, backwards. Danso, coming across, but will probably end up having to go backwards, will he? He does try and beat his man. Now he's out of position, so if he loses it, we're in trouble. But we've played it down the line. Spence loses it. It comes to Odobert. Comes narrow. Sarr. Well, that's a terrible foul. Oh, but the ball went first, so the ref doesn't give it. Archie Gray now. To Porro. Oh, he beats his man with a little nutmeg. Nice stuff. Does get a cross in. Chance! Fucking hell! Odobert with a huge chance at the back post. And that is the end of the game. This is my instant match review from the AZ Alkmaar 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0 game. And I am not exaggerating or overplaying it if I say that that was the worst Tottenham Hotspur game that I've seen in my memory. I guess the only possible positive I can find from that is that we're still in the tie, 1-0 down, going back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But AZ Alkmaar did their homework. They watched the games against Palace. They watched the games against Ipswich. They watched every game under Ange Postecoglou that pretty much he has lost to teams supposedly inferior to us and seen exactly what it takes to turn over a Tottenham side. Get in their face, hack at them, show desire, show motivation, show a want to win 50-50 balls. And Tottenham will retreat into their shell and they will play every pass sideways or backwards. They will show no creativity, no willingness to get stuck in, no leadership. And it's happened again. And this team, I'm sorry, the Tottenham team, have just sunk into their shells and been like, oh, well, there's another leg. Let's try not to lose more than 1-0. I have zero confidence that we are going to beat this team by 2 clear goals at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium because they will play exactly the same way. And they'll probably score a goal, at least 1 goal. And there's Ange out on the pitch applauding the away fans. Do you remember the away fans at Bournemouth when we played that game against Bournemouth and they went mental? They should be going mental at Ange again now. I'm sorry, they really should. And Vicario is kind of lifting his arms to try and get them to support the team. How can you support that team when they've traveled thousands of miles or 1,000 miles to go and watch utter dross? team couldn't string 2 passes together. Certainly not 2 forward passes. They barely even attempted it. Players who can hang their head up high, maybe Jed Spence. There's Lucas Bergvall apologising. He's a kid. He shouldn't have to apologise. Absolutely appalling. Bentancur got booked. He's out of the next game. He made me so angry tonight. He just pussied out of that game. Wasn't hard in 50-50s. Didn't take the ball on the half turn. Just passing it backwards and sideways every single time. Horrible, horrible performance. Vicario, possibly the only other player who can hold his head up high, made some vital saves. Without Vicario, we would probably be 3-0 down in the tie. I'm not exaggerating, honestly. AZ Alkmaar with Troy Parrott up front. Their captain is an ex-Southampton player. Just so many times. You know what really reminded me of? How many times in the fifth round of the FA Cup down the years have we played teams from the league below who've got a player in their team? I think Johnny Howson. Johnny Howson played for Middlesbrough against us and had the best game of his career. And that's exactly what happened today. Although they didn't have to have the best games of their career. They just had to be 6 out of 10, Alkmaar. And they rolled us over easily. They just got a goal, played direct. Should have scored a couple of other goals. I don't know. Maybe you'll tell me in the comments that I'm too negative, I'm too angry, or some of you big Ange Postecoglou supporters will say I'm being unfair on Ange Postecoglou, but it was fucking dross from the very first 30 seconds of the game. Nothing changes. We don't try and do anything different. Spence, I guess, the only player trying to do something different, trying to dribble out of his defense and trying to play balls over the top. Nobody else. Everybody else absolutely afraid. Afraid of trying to do anything that could win us that game or get us a result in that game. I'll try and do ratings. Vicario, I'll give a 7 because he saved us, maybe 7.5. Spence started at right back. I'll give him a 7. Gray tried hard. I'll give him a 6. Danso, I'll give him a 6.5. Tried hard. Udogi, 5.5. Poor. Bentancur, 4. Poor. Bergvall, terrible first half, but tried hard and got better second half, so I'll give him a 5.5. Maddison, taken off early again. Even getting taken off early in games where we don't even have Kulusevski. So literally no creativity from central midfield on the pitch, but he's still taken off early. Didn't look happy, but he was poor. He was bullshit. 5. Son, 4. Tell, 4. Johnson, 3. Absolutely appalling. And I'm sorry, I cannot sugarcoat it. I don't think Spurs had a single shot on goal. Maybe one. Had a couple of shots over the bar, but nothing. The goal, by the way, was a Lucas Bergvall own goal from a corner. They got loads of corners because they kept on getting on down in. Kept on getting in down the left-hand side, and Danso and Gray having to clear it out for corners on at least 2 or 3 occasions. Those corners would be bent in. 3 headers at the back post. Tottenham's inability or refusal to defend the back post has been exactly the same all season. How do you defend this? Ange Postecoglou fans, of which there are a number. How do you defend it? Honestly, literally, how do you defend the fact that we give up the same chances time and time and time again? I don't know. Maybe he'll surprise me, and maybe in the second leg we'll roll over Alkmaar 4 or 5-0, but I do not see it. I do not see it. They're going to play exactly that same way. We are going to play sideways and backwards for 90 minutes and just hope that a bit of magic happens. Hope that, well, with no Kulusevski, it's in a week's time, isn't it? He's not going to be fit. I don't know. Big Ange Postecoglou is on the brink. He is on the brink because if we lose this, he has to go. If we lose this last 16 tie against AZ Alkmaar in the one competition we have left, we're what, 13th, 14th in the league? He will have to go. I don't know. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. How will he survive this? I do not know how he would survive it. There's no... When the going gets tough, there is nothing on that pitch that drags Tottenham back. Nothing. Nothing. You need some drive. I know it sounds weird, but you need, as a fan base, even if you're just watching it on TV from 1,000 miles away, you need to see someone on the pitch going, for fuck's sake, lads, let's get into them. Let's get stuck in. None of that. Nothing. It was easy for Alkmaar. They were like, oh, they're not going to score. I can think of only like 2 or 3 occasions we got in their final third, looked even slightly dangerous, and the centre halves just found it absolutely ridiculously easy to just sweep it up, head it back to their keeper. Awful. Absolutely awful. And I am intrigued to see what Ange Postecoglou comes out and says in the press conference. Oh, it's who we are, mate. This is who we are. This is who we've been this season against all the teams who play deep blocks. And it's not good enough. Do not play Brennan Johnson and Son Heung-min against teams of a half-decent standard who play a deep block, because you can't get in behind them and they can't take the players on. Odebear came in the second half. Bit of a one-trick pony, I'm afraid. The fullback knew that he was going to come in narrow every single time. So play him on the right. Swap him with Johnson. Play him on the right and say, get to the outside of the man. Get to the byline and try and cut the ball back. Try something different. Move the players around. He brought Pat Matasar on in midfield when we were struggling. Why? Why? In a game where it needed some technical proficiency to get the ball down, to move it around quickly, to not be slow and turgid, you bring on Pat Matasar, who is all engine and legs. Well, there's no point having his legs. He can't get in behind the back line because the back line's playing so deep. It's obvious. I'm sorry. Look, I don't want Ange to become Mikel Arteta and rant and rave on the touchline for no reason. But to just stand there and look aimlessly, look like, oh, it's not my fault. It fucking is your fault, mate. It is your fault. You can't blame the injuries anymore. All season. Oh, wait till we get the injuries back. We've got the injuries back. You know, they're all on the bench anyway. Solanke comes on, gets injured again. I'm hopeful it's just an impact injury, like a kind of dead leg, but in the bottom of his back, rather than a muscle injury. But you can't use that excuse anymore, Ange. I'm sorry. I don't know what your excuse is going to be about playing against teams who, man for man, don't have as much quality, but try harder and want it more and are better motivated. That's supposed to be your game, Postecoglou. Motivation, man management. Well, we did nothing tonight. We embarrassed ourselves tonight. And I'm sorry, if you're Daniel Levy and his little circle of, yes men, Donna Cullen and all them, they'll be talking about it. They'll be saying, oof, might have to let him go if we lose this second leg. Can you see, let me know in the comments, can you honestly see us beating that AZ Alkmaar team by 2 clear goals? I'll tell you what will happen. At best, we'll win by 1 clear goal. It'll go to penalties and we'll lose. We'll lose on penalties. Parrott will score the winning penalty. You can guarantee it. And it won't be Luck's fault. It'll be Postecoglou's fault and the team's fault, because we haven't got enough leadership in there. And so many people, and I'll put my hands up, me included, said we needed to get rid of all the players who couldn't play handball. Actually, I think we could have done with a Pierre-Emile Højbjerg tonight. We could have done with an Eric Dyer, someone with a bit of leadership, bit of nous, bit of grit to try and get us through a game like that is difficult. And the camera's on Bergvall. It shouldn't be. He shanked one into his own net. I was just unlucky. But the reason we lost that game is because we're fucking shit. Set up wrongly, pussies on the ball, too afraid to take some risks. I don't know. Maybe I'll be made to look stupid next week if he finds a way to turn them over easily, but I cannot see it. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Please subscribe to the channel. That's been my post-match review to the AZ Alkmaar 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0, Dross, Europa League last 16 first leg tie, where Tottenham have been embarrassed. They've embarrassed themselves, and they're lucky to still be in it somehow. That is the only positive I have from it. We're lucky to still be in it somehow. Dearie me. Okay, guys. Welcome to the fan show. This should be interesting because I've just spent the last 2 hours slagging off Tottenham Hotspur. I feel like almost like I've never slagged them off before. And that's hard. That is a difficult thing to claim ownership over, because I've watched Tottenham play some utter dross in my time, but not much covers what I just had to see. And now I'm going to get an opportunity to speak to some other Spurs fans about it. So first up, I'm going to go to Tom. Tom, can you hear me okay? Tom, are you on mute, mate?
Always do that. How are you, Barnaby?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'm not good, mate. I'll be honest, I'm not good. But Tom, what can you, I saw you in the green room. You were listening to my post-match review. What can you tell us that I haven't already said myself? What the fuck was that?
Yeah, I mean, mate, I echo everything you said. I mean, it's just, at the end of the day, I'm not surprised. Ever since that Chelsea game, these sort of results have kept happening. We come against a team that, they are a decent side. They are a decent side, but we just look toothless, and there's absolutely nothing. And I just think there's just no excuse to do nothing. We literally did nothing for that whole game. We did nothing. No shots on target.
It was fear, though, wasn't it? It was fear, Tom. They were absolutely shitting themselves. They couldn't handle the atmosphere.
But that's always the excuse, isn't it? I mean, there's no character in that team. I think the thing that summed it up was that free kick in the first half. Yeah. Just the basics. They train for those sort of situations, and we can't get that right. Apparently we've been working on attacking set pieces. Apparently, yeah, it's just pathetic. It's just same old excuses. And the manager has to take responsibility for this. Obviously, look, we can still turn it around, but I was saying during the game, I don't see us turning this around. I don't see it. I really don't.
No, I don't see us turning it around because do you agree with me in that it's very clear to me that these teams who come up against us, they just watch like the Palace game, the Ipswich game, all of those games, and just get in their faces, make it difficult for them, and they cannot handle it.
Yeah, I mean, we're so easy to play against. It's unbelievable. Basically any team, even Tamworth, a semi-professional team full of part-timers, no disrespect to them, even they can do a job on us.
Yeah.
And that was with, we had a couple of first teamers in that game. We hardly rotated. So that's why I'm not surprised by this. It's just, this is who we are. And nothing changes. There's no, nothing's changed. This is who we are. It's who we are.
Where does well, relevantly, I'm going to ask you, where does Ange go from here? Realistically, I feel like we're in the end of days for Ange, unless magically something. It was clear from the first minute of that game that the only way we were going to score a goal is if someone magically put it in the top bin from 30 yards, and the only opportunity we pretty much had to do that, they chose to take a short free kick anyway, or from a set piece. But we don't score from set pieces, so I think. What do you think? Where's Ange going to go from here?
I just think, well, obviously, look, we can still turn it around. But look, even if we get through next week, I don't see us winning this competition. We'll come up against either Frankfurt and Ajax, and I just don't see us winning that.
But they might. I mean, I have to say, just to play devil's advocate, Tom, they might actually try and come at us, which is where we're in our wheelhouse.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But eventually, even if we get through that, there'll be some team that we play against that will suss us out, and will understand our weaknesses. But look, I think if we lose next week, and just got to go.
I'll tell you now, we're going to lose on penalties next week. The best we can hope for is that we're going to lose on penalties next week. I can guarantee it. I've seen it 100 times. Do you remember Norwich in the FA Cup? Do you remember PSV in the UEFA Cup?
The irony is, Troy Parrott missed the pen, didn't he?
Yes,
Norwich?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I know. I'm just so uninspired by it. There's nothing there. I just watch it, and I'm just like, I'm not inspired watching this. And apparently, it's attacking football. It's just.
Yeah, I just wonder if from the. I wonder if I'm just trying to work it out. I wonder if from minute naught, even before, from flying out there, a lot of the team are like, okay, we've got Christian, we've got Dom Solanke, we've got Van der Ven on the bench. So really what we need to do is just get through this game, find a way to get a 0-0, at worst, stay in it, and then they'll all be back for next week. But the problem is, I'm sorry, one of the biggest problems is how embarrassing that performance was, and how many pelters that team and Ange Postecoglou are going to get this week. He is going to get pelters. He has to. It was shocking.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so bad. And I think that was actually the worst game of the season. I honestly think that was the worst game. Actually, no, the Liverpool game was worse, but that's Liverpool. But it's just like, they had 8 days to prepare for that game. They had no shots on target. No shots on target. It's honestly laughable. It is laughable. And it's just.
And it goes from bad to worse, because one of the options I'd say would make me feel a bit better about next week would be Solanke, so having a bit more of a direct option. And it looks like the keepers need him out of contention, because that looked very sore.
We won't go direct. That's the thing.
But at least he can hold it up. None of us can hold. Nobody else can hold it up in the final third, and that's why. I mean, actually, I was going to say that's one of the biggest problems. The biggest problem is the central midfield. And this has been happening all season as well. They pussy out of 50-50 challenges. And do you know where we pussy out 50 challenges the most? Central midfield, and then in our own box. We're like scared rabbits in those two places. And the opposition know it, and so they plough through us.
Yeah, I mean, you highlight that, standing off and, the lack of pressure. And I think Johnson, he's one of the culprits of that. Because remember, like, even though the goal was unlucky, it was him that let the man go free in the box. He was the one that stood off. So, he is one of the culprits of that. And
I don't care.
I know what you mean. It's just,
I don't care who stood off. What I care about is the fact that in every single game, I do a watch along and I say 6 to 10 times, we don't mark our back post. And it doesn't matter whether it's from a corner or from open play. It's like Ange doesn't care about the back post. Well, they keep fucking scoring from the back post, Ange. So you're making yourself look like a twat.
Those are the tactics. I mean, that's the thing is, that's been the source of our issues for so long. That I'd say that's about 50% of our defensive issues are due to not marking the back post, and that's not down to the personnel. That's not down to injuries. That's down to the manager. And I'm just going to
bring up a comment here, Tom. Tom Lowry says, entitled tossers. If we don't win, it's the end of the world. It's 1-0 FFS. Judge it next week. Support the fucking team. Mate, were you not watching the same game? Do you not support Spurs? Do you not know what it's like when you watch your team that you've invested your life in playing like utter dross so that you're going to be embarrassed by everybody? Yes, we're still in the tie, but only because we're lucky to just be in the tie, not because we deserve to be in the tie. And in the same way that when Spurs win 4-0 at the Etihad Stadium, I will be absolutely behind the manager and say how brilliant he was. I have every right as a Spurs fan of over 35 years to say when we were utter shit, and we were.
Yeah, and you have more of a right to say that than me, because you've been supporting the club longer than me, and it's just, I mean, look, I respect that comment. I think some people do get very emotional, but I think just because there's a lack of, there's such a lack of inspiration in that team, and it's just embarrassing. No shots on target. That's the thing for me. It's like I can stomach losing. I can stomach, not being the better team. And I respect teams like Alkmaar, and I knew it was going to be a difficult game. But just to not be able to compete is just, it's unforgivable. Absolutely unforgivable.
Yeah,
and it's our last hope as well, winning this competition. Sorry,
I think I think you've mentioned it. It's like the whole vibe of Ange Ball is supposed to be like, okay, well, if we're going to lose, we're going to lose in a brave, attacking way. And he clearly, I'm sorry, but he is in charge of the club, so he has to take responsibility. He clearly hasn't been able to coach that bravery into them, because whenever we go into games exactly like this, we fall into our sideways and backwards. It might as well be Conte Ball, because at least with Conte Ball, it was defensively a little bit sturdier.
Yeah, and it was more direct than Conte as well. It's just, that's the main thing as well. Just the amount of times we're just passing it sideways, backwards, sideways. There's no risk taking, really. I mean, I'm not saying, no one takes risks in that team, but it's just it's so safe, isn't it? We're always, there's no directness or anything. And I think I look at, obviously, I don't want to compare Ange to Pep or anything, but when Man City was struggling, he changed the tactics and they were a bit more direct in some of the games I was watching. And I just think we've got to try and change it up. We've got to get players like Spence not making stupid runs and leaving us exposed. We've got to get them players like Spence putting balls forward and trying to, get the balls into attacking areas. If I was the manager, at least.
I've just put a comment up there from Phil C saying, "I don't mind losing. It's the way you lose that matters." And I think that sums it up for me.
Of course, yeah.
And
it's not we support the team, yeah.
Oh, so Bournemouth at the weekend then.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't care
because AZ don't have a match now between now and the next one. So what do you imagine Ange will do team wise for that Bournemouth game?
I mean, he's got to rotate, isn't he? He's got to rotate the team against Bournemouth. I don't see us winning that. To be honest, I don't see us beating Bournemouth. Bournemouth, they are a better team than us. Bournemouth are a better team than us, and that's a fact. So yeah, if I was Ange, I'd rotate. I would definitely give Solanke a rest in hope that even if he's fit for that Bournemouth game, I'd definitely rest him and just make sure he's all right for next week. And yeah, hopefully we can turn it around next week. I don't have much hope, but obviously we all have that. As fans, we've got to just get behind the team next week, and hopefully we turn it around. We can turn it around. We've got the players to do it. But whether we have whether we turn up is another question.
All right, Tom, thanks so much for being a part of the show today, and hopefully speak to you after a better result at the weekend or next week. Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Yeah, take care, mate. Hopefully we get a good result.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. Okay, next up, I'm going to Ireland and Noel. How are you, Noel?
Very poor, Barnaby. That was dreadful. I really don't know what to say. It was inept, to say the least. I can't believe the bad passing, giving the ball away. To me, it looked like as if there, it was a dead rubber game. That there wasn't much on it. This is, to get into the last 8 of the Europa League. We didn't show enough urgency, and that was a disappointing thing for me. And the amount of stray balls, and we were lucky. AZ could have had a couple. We're still in the tie, and it's how they react next week. But one of the poorest performances I've seen from Spurs for a long time, and there's been some fairly poor ones this year. Yeah. So not happy at all, and some of the substitutions as well. Surprised, I still wouldn't have taken Son off. I didn't see Johnson doing anything at all. When you looked at, the camera went over to the sideline, and Son and Maddison were sitting there together. But they didn't have great games, but there are two guys who could get you a goal. Yeah. Like Udderberg came on and he was running into blind alleys. Yeah. Very disappointed with him. Disappointed with the whole performance. Barnaby, really don't know what to say.
No, I'm going to ask you, sorry to interrupt, I'm going to ask you a quite difficult question.
Yeah.
But it's a simple one. Why did they perform so badly?
I don't know, actually. I really don't. I didn't see any leadership in the team. The only leadership I saw in the team was from Vicario when Bergvall, unfortunately, scored the own goal. I've never seen anybody really rolling their sleeves up and saying, "Come on, we can do this. We can get a goal." It was just flat. The performance was completely flat. I don't know. I really don't know. I've lost for words for once, Barnaby. I don't know what to say.
There's been a bit of kind of back and forth in the comments here. I can see it as we're broadcasting. Yeah. And people getting annoyed at me for being annoyed, and then annoyed at other people for being not annoyed enough and whatever. Yeah. You're an older Spurs fan than me. I've been a Spurs fan for a long time, and people in the comments as well. It's all subjective. Everyone is allowed their viewpoint, but how do you actually feel about when a game is that the performance is that bad and it's in such an important game and kind of the last thing that we're kind of hanging our hopes on, especially when it's like I don't know about you, but I want this manager to succeed. I want it to work out for him. Yeah. But I think, am I not right? And I don't know how you feel, but I feel like you're absolutely allowed to be instinctively as angry as you would be, ecstatic if we won 4-0.
Just immediately when the final whistle went, I rang one of my best friends, actually. And the words he was F, 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 F. I mean, it was just absolutely unbelievable. He was furious. Like myself, I've been supporting Spurs since 1967.
There you go.
Seen some great days, some glory days. And Glenn Hoddle was the commentator, and Glenn Hoddle was, I was one of a signed shirt of his actually in my house. And, it was crying out for somebody like him. There was so much lack of creativity. I was really sitting there exasperated, thinking, "Come on, you're still in this tie." But thankfully, they didn't give away the second goal. That's I think the only blessing from tonight is that they didn't concede the second goal. Because if they conceded the second, I don't think they turn it around next week.
Yeah, agreed.
Can they turn it around next week? They bloody well have to. This is a pivotal season, a part of our season. Go out of the cup next week, and it's all downhill. We just have to play out the season and hope we can, finish as high up as possible. So the most important week, as I can see it, and it started in an abysmal fashion. And you've every right to, feel like that as a Spurs supporter. We want to see some passion. I didn't see any passion out there tonight. I can really, I was hoping you were going to ask me who do I think played well. I think actually Bergvall showed something.
Yeah, in the second half especially.
Yeah, especially he showed a lot of willingness, and he broke up ball and and tried to take him on. He was very unfortunate with the goal. He's only young. He'll learn from these things. It happens to the best of people. Yeah. But it's the reaction afterwards wasn't there, and I think only for Vicario and some bad finish, and Troy Parrott really could have finished the tie. Yeah. We were lucky, we tried to play him offside. Sorry, he was plainly onside.
1-on-1. Yeah.
And 1-on-1, and Vicario showed his experience. So we're still in it, but Sunday, big game against Bournemouth. We need the points as well. I don't know what will happen. Very disappointed to see Solanke going off. Yeah. Injured, obviously in a lot of pain. To me, it looked as if it's a hip injury, and that wouldn't be simple. So I think we're not gonna have him back out for a while, which we were banking on. Yeah. He brings us, I think he brings other players into the game, and would have been a big player to play next week. Yeah. So, fairly abysmal end to the evening. But look at we're Spurs supporters. I think the commentator says it's the 18th time we've lost this season. Like that's a shocking record. Yeah. That is absolutely horrendous. Yeah. But
awful.
I still hope that, and I think we will turn it around. We just have to. As simple as that. Our season depends on it.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, Noel, thanks so much for being a part of the show, and let's speak after the Bournemouth game on Sunday. Thanks a lot.
Okay, mate. Thanks, Barnaby. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Sorry, just running out a bit of time. Next up, I'm going to talk to Tim. And Tim, before I let you come in, I'm going to ask you a question, because I just saw something in the comments which I was already going to ask a question about, and I'm absolutely rattled by this comment, which is from Caretaker, who in the interview, I assume he means, Ange said that it was a tricky pitch. Now, the question I was going to ask you, starting this already, was how was it tonight that Tottenham Hotspur made that pitch look like it was Hackney Marshes, whereas AZ Alkmaar were popping it about 1 and 2 touch through the midfield, and yet we're all on, between 75 and 100 grand or 150 grand a week, and none of them are.
Yeah, I just listened to that interview, and he did unfortunately say we had trouble adjusting to the pitch or something like that. He also said that there was nowhere near enough pressing. It's like, no shit, Sherlock. Really? Have you got to tell him that? Yeah, the control seemed awful. Yeah. I don't care what the pitch was like. It was probably a bit bumpy, but it wasn't exactly,
But Alkmaar controlled it fine. They were fine.
Exactly. I suppose if I'm playing devil's advocate, we say, well, they're kind of used to it, but it's not an excuse. Right. That we weren't holding the ball. There were passes that just, a pass going astray isn't a pricky, a crap pitch. It just means you've passed it wrong. Tell just couldn't hold a ball up. No one could go past a player. Like, no. Odeberg tried, and so did Brennan, but neither of them could get past a player. Full stop. And that wasn't that. I mean, I can't actually work out. Bearing in mind what we've asked for is more players back and time to rest. You got both those things and had one of the worst performances for some time, since the last time we had a crap performance in Europe. So I'm not entirely sure what that was. We just, like, Odeberg would get not get past someone, but get down the line and then just pass it straight back. There was nothing. And the one thing Brennan's good at is finishing a ball. He can't go past anyone or dribble or be creative, but he can certainly finish. But he had nothing. It's got to say something when our only shot on target was a miss-hit cross by Odeberg, and obviously someone's mentioned a free kick. Yeah, Ange was just going on about the lack of effort, and I noticed during the game they could just so easily triangle passes around us, bang, 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 and they're gone. And like no one's near anyone, and we could whinge on about Ange, which I could do all night, but the players weren't closing down. They didn't seem to be right. This is the cup we can win. Let's go and do this. There was no leadership. There was some whinging going on the pitch by Maddison and others going, oh, what's going on? Yeah. But there didn't seem anyone to go, right, come on, let's press. And it just seemed like all over the place. Like they hadn't trained for 10 days or whatever it is.
I think they trained for 8 days doing that free kick routine.
Yeah, that went so well.
I just think there's just a lack of experience almost. And almost like Son and Maddison, I guess, who do have experience, aren't, and maybe Danso to a degree, they're not those players who are going to drag a team by the scruff of the neck. And I know I'm talking in cliches, but sometimes you could see it in the Alkmaar players. They just wanted it. They just were into it.
Yep.
Get in their faces or whatever. Spurs have an inability or a refusal to ever match the fight in these kind of games.
And that's the bit that bothers me. And the one thing that really bothers me, the only good thing that came out of this was that we're only 1-0 down when we could have been a lot more down. We should have been 2, apart, Vic making a couple of great saves, we should have been at least 2-0 down.
But Tim, do you have any confidence at all that we won't be 2-0 down after about 5 minutes of the second leg?
That's my concern, because I know Alkmaar are really, really tight defensively. Yeah. So, one break and we're 2-0 down, then we're in real trouble. Not that we're not in trouble now, because we can't create anything, So, my worry is that they'll just sit back and go on the break, because that's what they're very good at. That's what they're trained to do. And they're handy with a ball, and they can certainly, at least take a shot on target, for God's sake. So my real worry is something will happen early on next week, whenever the next one is. And we will panic. So I'm not feeling exactly content about that. And I don't know where the creativity is coming from. I really don't. I mean, I will say that Pedro at least came on and started crossing a ball or two, which got them in trouble, because Brendan just doesn't seem able to do it. Odebed, I can't even remember a cross that he did, which seems extraordinary, right?
I think straight away from the first 10 minutes of the second half, where it was clear that Odebert was trying to come narrow every time and the defender knew he was going to do it, I would have switched him over to the right-hand side and said, all right, beat your defender on the outside and get a cross in.
I suppose what I was thinking, okay, we've got a crappy first half. They'll go in at half-time, change things up, mix things up, try and get AZ off balance and try something new. Nothing changed. Even when they brought new players on, nothing really changed apart from Pedro doing something, and Jed was possibly the only half-decent player on the pitch. At least he was, even though he got caught a couple of times, at least he was trying to drive through and do stuff. We had no one to drive through. No. We had no one with any pace, and we had no one to close down, which was leaving our defence just wide open, to be honest with you.
Tim, I'm just going to read what Postecoglou said in his press conference. He said, it wasn't great from us tonight. Pretty much all facets of the game. We didn't really get to grips with any part of the game. We struggled to gain any momentum with the ball. We weren't as aggressive as we needed to be without the ball. It was a tricky surface, but having said that, we kind of knew that from yesterday. And we just didn't tackle the challenges we had out there in a real positive way. That allowed AZ to get into a rhythm, which when you're playing away from home, it is difficult to stem the tide. So it's, he's just paying lip service to it, really. I guess he has to. He's protecting his players. He's protecting himself.
Here's a question for you, Barnaby. Do you think, I've never really got the impression that the players buying into it, and I think it seems less and less. Do you get the impression that the players are just playing, not bought into the system or the way of playing, or even Ange himself? Because I'm starting to get that impression, particularly when Sonny and Mads were chatting on the bench. It was like, oh, they're not happy.
Yeah. The first time I suggested that as an issue was that Everton game where we were 3-0 down at halftime. They were just jogging about, and I've seen it a few times. They just jog about sometimes, and I've said it. It reminds me of when you watch Manchester United and Roy Keane is in the pundits box, and he'll go through clips of them, and he'll go, they just jog about, they don't press. And tonight they didn't press. And I think Ange may have mentioned that, but it's like, well, it's your job to make them press. And what's weird about it is, look, I do understand, and stats back up that being away from home makes it harder. And the home team do have, I don't know, 5-10% more momentum and desire because they've got the fans behind them. And the stats back that up from during the COVID times when the teams that won away was so much, there were so many more teams winning away during the COVID no fans period. But the flip of that is there's no excuse for, in a Europa League last 16 tie, for that Tottenham team not to look at how high and how hard the AZ Alkmaar team were pressing and not just be like, why don't we just do the same? Just do the same and press them back to their keeper. But we didn't do that. And as a result, they kind of got their corner and got their goal. And then after that, they just went long every time and caused havoc quite a lot. It was either going long, kind of pinpointing Archie Gray, who I think did a pretty good job under the circumstances, and then also just getting in down the left time and time again. And it's like, I'm at a total loss as to how we can watch a team concede chance after chance after chance in every game down the left-hand side and him not try and do anything about it tactically.
It just feels like a very long time since I've thought, oh, they're purring. They're looking really good. Just feels like a very long time since I thought that. And worry is, I think they've lost it. They've lost whatever they did have is just so far away now. I'm not sure it's reversible.
Maybe. Alistair Gold asked Postecoglou why, for such a big game, the Spurs players just didn't really seem that up for it. He said, look, it's a combination of things, but we'll analyze it and have a look at the areas we struggled with. But it's fair to say, it was nowhere near the level it needed to be. So, again, like paying lip service. I mean, look, let's go for the positives and say, we're still in the game. If we find a way through it next week, I'm positive that we'll somehow only do it on penalties if we do it at all. I'm not confident of that. And then I think all we can hope for, and it's a weird hope, but actually it's something I've been saying all season, we do better against the teams who come at us.
Yeah.
So we probably need it to be Eintracht, who I'd say are probably just a bit better than Ajax because they've won, a trophy in Europe recently, and then Lazio, and then hope that it's probably not Manchester United in the final.
We have never been good against any sort of low block ever, and just never ever worked that out, which is a real problem because a lot of people will play that. I'm with you. If we do manage to scrape through this and we're playing through half decent people, then I think we stand a chance.
Because then there's space in behind for Brennan Johnson and Sonny. Do you know what I mean? And
exactly.
To do what
those hard crosses across the box, and there's room to move into. They were never giving us that. And it felt like the plan was just to hope to come out 0-0. I think that was it. They were hoping just to grind out a 0-0, and maybe they could do 1-0's fine, and we'll be back. But I worry.
What do you foresee happening now for this Bournemouth game? I think Ange is in a difficult position, knowing that AZ have a break.
I think he'll give Romero and Van der Ven a run for half a game, and then change it up to try and show something different. Because I think we do miss those two, and particularly Van der Ven, who can step up and do things and create space, which is not what we had tonight. I think he'll mix in and give people minutes and do it. The league's done, so you might as well experiment. And those people, I don't want Romero and Van der Ven coming in like without having to have a match. So I reckon he'll play him at least 60 minutes at the weekend. And I'm not very hopeful about it, but we're Spurs fans. Anything can happen. Literally anything can happen.
And I have to ask this because I've seen it a little bit on Twitter. Matthias Tell, we're not making chances for him. He's clearly not ready to be a number 9 back to goal player to hold it up in midfield. They knew to just be physical with him, come through the back of him. At this point, if Solanke isn't fit, would there be any temptation for you in the next Europa League game to play Scarlett ahead of Tell?
I think I would, because the problem is with Tell is he's quite lightweight. I thought actually a couple of times when he kind of slipped away, I thought, he's going to beat the man down the outside and do that rather than back to goal, which he can't do, and he couldn't even do that. No. So I was thinking, well, maybe that will be a part of his game, but it's not. I just think he's just not ready for the Premier League right now. He's not playing in a confident team. If he was playing in a confident team, well, maybe, but I don't think he is. I think I prefer a bit more of a heavyweight like Dane Scarlett and to give him a go because he's got everything going to actually prove himself, whereas I'm not sure Tell has.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Well, listen, Tim, thanks so much for appearing on the show. Really appreciate it. And speak to you.
Come on, you Spurs. We'll be fine.
Next one.
That's what we're going to say. We'll be fine.
Okay, mate. See you later. Bye-bye. Okay, next I'm going to John. John, thanks for being patient, mate. How are you feeling? How are you feeling after that?
Just, I don't know what it is. Mentality side of things. I hear the excuses that have come out today about the pitch and everything else like that. I see the stats come up first half or halfway through the second half. Sorry, we've done 408 passes. No, we hadn't. Right, we've been watching that. Our basics and how we play, it's just not there. Everything's like off the cuff, like we're winging it. Nothing really up front. Yeah. But are you surprised about today? Really, are you surprised about that? Because away in Europe anyway, we haven't got a good record anyway. The bigger the game, we don't fancy it. And I just think, the only saving grace is only 1-0.
I'm going to answer your question, even though I think it was kind of probably half rhetorical. But I was saying in my videos this week that I thought it would be 1-1 tonight. So I guess what I'd say is, am I surprised that we conceded to a set piece from a free header at the back post? No. Am I surprised that we didn't? I think we had one shot on goal and we didn't cause them any problems at all. Maybe I am a bit surprised about that. And that's where I think, and like I'll keep saying it, I'd love it to work out for Ange. I like him as a bloke. I think the players in the most part are still playing for him, which is rare considering we're in like 15th in the league or wherever we are. But it's just his inability to change things. And I know it sounds cliche, but it's true. When he sees that first half and even the first 15 minutes, we're not getting through the middle of them. They're packing it out. He has to try and do something different. And I don't care whether that is get Dane Scarlett on the pitch or Solanke on the pitch at halftime and say, we're going to just put crosses in from deep and we're going to cause hassle and try and win second balls on the edge of the box and have shots from the edge of the box, because you don't know whether some of those shots may then deflect in off someone. But if it's that kind of game and the pitch is bobbly and you can't play that type of play, then you have to do something different. And I hate saying it because I sound like fucking Jamie Carragher or Jamie Redknapp or someone, but it's like, I don't care at that point if you're like, fine, we're going to put deep crosses in. But he doesn't. And that's why you spend 95 minutes watching that utter dross. And I find myself being wound up about it because you're like, no other team that I would watch in the Premier League wouldn't try and change it.
No. Why is it we so if teams sit off, I get the logic behind if you sit off, you try and play out from the back because you try and entice them on. Sure. But they're so disciplined, they're not going to come on to you. Mm-hmm. Right? So change it up then. Right? They're playing condensed. Go over, hit it over the back line. Push them right up, push them right back. Like you say, change it up. But I don't think Ange has much support from the bench. I don't rate this backroom team that he's got there either. I thought we were it was a shame that we lost Chris Davis to Birmingham in the summer.
It's doing good.
I know he was there at the back end of last season as well as the start, but I thought he was more he would more challenge Ange a little bit more on the decisions. I think that Nick Montgomery and Ryan Mason, not for me. And I wonder if Ange is a yes man to the man upstairs anyway. So from that perspective, but from a player perspective as well, and I don't like this from the club either. We've got Bentancur, for example, he was banned, wasn't he, for racially abusing Son? Right, he was, wasn't he? Got done by the FA for that, yeah? Mm-hmm. Whether he was right or wrong. So, and he's been in and out for us, but we're going to offer him a new contract though. Mm. We've also got who's the other one with the Romero doesn't play, doesn't really want to play for us. Okay, he gives you that impression anyway. I don't know because I don't know him personally. But he gives you that impression. We're going to make him the highest paid player at the club. But then you've got Kulusevski, who has played 11 games back to back, and he's just knackered. He's done his foot. I get it. Knackered, nothing. And it's a mentality thing. Look how pampered they are. Look where they stay in the training ground. Look at it all. It's just it's the whole thing. But we've been supporting Tottenham for so long that you knew tonight was coming.
Yeah.
Right. And if we get through, we'll lose the away leg the next round. So that now. It's a mentality thing, and it always has been. It's weak, it's soft. And whenever it was challenged by previous regimes, they didn't last long.
One thing I would say is I think Pochettino managed to get that mentality into the club from top to bottom. He was the one who was able to change it. But then we didn't support him, and we didn't keep with him. I'm just going to talk about, because you mentioned Kulusevski. If you remember when we went to Rangers and we were fucking dog shit in that game at Ibrox as well, Kulusevski managed to pop up with an equaliser, didn't he? Kind of out of nothing. Yeah. And that's where we really missed him tonight as well, because he's the only player who especially in a game where Maddison was not being creative, where we missed Kulusevski being able to potentially pop up with something.
Tell me what's up with Maddison and that midfield dynamic. He's never got that right, has he? Ever since he's been there, he's never got that midfield dynamic correct, has he?
I think Maddison needs to be as an ego player, the first name on the team sheet. And I think with Madders, I think it's something like he's completed 90 minutes this season, and I don't think Madders is the kind of player, whether he's in the red zone or whatever. I don't think he's the type of player who wants to be taken off the pitch. I think he's the type of player who always thinks he can probably score goals up until the last kick of the game. And so many times, and this is something I find bizarre with Ange, he takes Madders off when we need a goal. And it's like, well, how many creative players do we have on the park?
Yeah.
One thing I will say, sorry to interrupt, but I will say, look, Madders gets injured too much. And when he gets injured, he struggles to come back quickly. But too many times he's not on the park when we need a goal. And he's one of the few players who's creative.
I think I just fell back to it. I remember the time we had George Graham, and no one was a fan of having George Graham there. I get that. When George Graham was there, and we had injuries before, I remember this. He was in the medical department, and he stripped it bare to just having a bench, no TVs, no radios, a horrible place to be. And I just wonder if it's quite convenient if I've got I missed this one. I'll give this way. I've got a bit of a twinge. I missed this one. I'm talking about the whole season, because we've had players that have stood up to it, right? Porro, I'm not his biggest fan, but Porro, Archie Gray, Bergvall, Kulusevski, absolutely played through the whole thing. But others, Romero, I question it sometimes, and I wonder if the manager's strong enough in there. That side of it's strong enough. On the training pitch, I don't think he is strong enough, is he? I mean, he's had 8 days. And you've seen nothing out there today. You've seen no patterns of play. You've seen no change in how we're going to play, and you just winged it. And you've just winged it, and you've just and the changes you make. Odebear coming on.
He was poor. Listen, John, thanks so much for all your opinions, mate. I really appreciate you being part of the show. Let's talk again after hopefully a better result of the weekend.
Take care, mate.
Top man. Cheers. Bye bye. And finally, I'm going all the way to the Czech Republic. And Steve, thank you so much for being so patient. Really appreciate it, mate.
No problem.
Got about 10 minutes, so we can go into it pretty deeply.
Okay. I think we've gone into it pretty deeply already, but go on.
Yeah, but listen, everybody has a slightly different angle on it. Where do you come from with what you saw tonight?
I slightly disagree with your comment about we were pussyfooting around in the challenges in midfield, because I thought Bergwell was getting stuck in.
True.
Benton Kerr most of the time. Okay, Danso was playing at the back, but he was getting stuck in. But I kind of know what you mean. I think they're not luxury players, but your Johnsons, your Maddisons, and one or two others they weren't up for it, which is what you said. Yeah. I'll agree on that. They were up for it. Alkmaar, and we weren't up for it.
How can it be? How can it be, Steve, that we go into the biggest game of our season, last 16 game, and other than what previous people have said about mentality and what I've said about just an inability to deal with the situation, inability to deal with the atmosphere, And
Yeah.
then, you know, how can we possibly look ahead to next week and think, oh, well, then they'll be able to deal with the stress of being 1-0 down in front of 60,000 people. And I have to say, I don't foresee, and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't foresee that game starting next week with 60,000 screaming Spurs fans being like,
No.
we're going to get behind you. I think it'll be like, we need you to show us what you can do. And I think it'll be a struggle.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's going to be a very, very nervous atmosphere because of the situation we're in. It's the last chance saloon, if you like. And we're already losing 1-0, and they will. I totally agree with you. They will come out Alkmaar playing the same low block.
Yep.
It's so frustrating. I mean, I was behind Ange all season, but when you look at that, it's like you say, why don't they change the tactic? Why do they keep playing this same ball and playing back across the across the midfield and back and round, and nothing's happening? I was saying after 20 minutes to a friend of mine on texting him. Surely he's got it. He can see, like you said, after 15, 20 minutes, how it was going to end up.
Yeah.
At least the first half. Why doesn't he make some substitutions a little bit earlier? So that was really disappointing. I mean, it was actually 18 and a half minutes of the 90 minutes to go before he brought on Solanke. It's not even.
He's afraid of him
minutes.
getting injured, ironically.
Well, yeah. So to me, like, if you got them on the bench, okay, if we were leading and he wants to bring them on to give them a 10 or 15 minute cameo for what that's worth, I suppose it's worth something. I mean, why were all those players on the bench then? If they're not ready, they're just
I think maybe
they're not going to come on. He's got no intention of playing them.
Yeah, I think realistically, maybe like you said, probably to give them 10 minutes if we're winning, but also to take them out there to train last night, probably more than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, so massively disappointed. To go on to the captaincy, I'm a big fan of Sonny, but unfortunately, some people you can't say a bad word against him. And the only bad word I got, I said he's not suitable to be a captain. Mm-hmm. On one hand, everyone says, yeah, he's great. He can be the captain. He speaks up in the changing rooms. Only we don't know because we don't see it, or fans like me who live away from England don't actually go to the game.
Yep.
But on the other hand, they always say he's a very nice guy. I played at a very low level of football, but every captain I ever played under was not a nice guy, especially not out on the field.
Well, can I give you, sorry to interrupt, but can I give you an example? The AZ Alkmaar captain elbowed Bergvall in the ribs and put him down off the side of the pitch. And that's like, I'm the captain. I'm going to show my teammates what I'm willing to do. I'm going to be sneaky about it. I'm going to be sly about it. And it was stuff like that that added to the reasons why Spurs were unwilling to match the fight.
Yeah, there's no drive. But it's been going on all season. And last season, there's nobody there. It should be someone at the back or someone in the midfield or one or two of the players to G them up, and get them going. It's so disappointing. The worst thing is I've actually managed to get for a friend of mine a ticket for the game next week. So I'm flying over. So
well, hopefully you'll be a good luck charm, mate. Where do you think Ange goes from here? Where do you think he lies on the, in the reality of the security of his position?
If we fail to get through next week.
Well, right now even.
Well, right.
I mean,
now,
I'm not suggesting he's going to get sacked in the next week, but he's on the precipice, isn't he?
Yeah, he is definitely. I think so. Yeah, if he doesn't, we don't go a little bit further in this tournament and improve to at least run about 10th in the league, I think he's gone. I'm really disappointed in him because, like you said as well, I like him as a person. I like the way he deals with the press. Not the press, the press who talk to him. He handles them very well. But where is this man management he talks about? Although it's worked for him in the past, it's a conundrum. And as you said, how come the players are not performing if it's the last chance saloon? They folded in the League Cup, they folded in the FA Cup, absolute dross. And this is the last chance, and they're just, like someone said, it's like a training game. It was really poor, very, very disappointed. So disjointed play. They, despite all this training they finally got under their belts, they didn't seem to know where each other were. They weren't really fighting for each other. Yeah. A lot of losing possession. Poor touches.
So much. I have to say, I actually think this might be the the thing that brings Yves Bissouma back from the brink, because I think Ange will have to look at that and be like, oh, well, we need someone who's actually going to take the ball on the half turn and try and play some line breaking passes.
Possibly. He has sort of let us down a few times, but then again, a lot of the players have let us down this season with getting dispossessed too close to their own box.
Yeah. What do you predict? What do you predict will happen against Bournemouth at the weekend now?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think we'll lose that one as well. I think we'll lose that probably 2-1, 3-1. We'll lose anyway, whatever. I wonder if there's.
I have to say, I wonder if there's some element where Ange will say to them, I'm going to put out my first team. I'm not going to care about injuries, because you've got to play yourself into some kind of confidence to go into the second leg.
That's right. Into Thursday.
Because also Ange will look at it. Ange will be like, oh, I might be sacked on a week on Friday. I might be sacked. He might be sacked a week tomorrow. So he might as well play his first team on Sunday and say to them, I'm going to make you play both games, fitness provided. And you've got to, he won't say it directly to them, but it'll be like, you've got to save my job for me. Yeah,
I totally agree. I think he will. I think he will play a strong team, but he'll probably rotate the pair of them, Van der Ven and Romero. He's not going to put them both on at the same time, I wouldn't imagine.
No. All right. Well, listen, Steve, anyway. It's been good to talk to you. Hopefully, let's talk after the Bournemouth game, mate.
After the Bournemouth game, definitely.
Top man. Thanks a lot.
All right. Yeah, thanks for having me on again.
Bye-bye. Oh, cut you off a bit early there, Steve. And guys, if you'd like to appear on a future episode, email tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That's tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. It's important that we give everyone a voice, especially people from all around the world. So wherever you're from, please get in touch. Okay, guys, that has been the end of the Watch Along, the fan show. Everything. It's been a very long night, a very disappointing performance from Spurs, but there is more content coming your way. The Spurs Chat podcast, hosted by Craig Dimon, will be starting in just 5 minutes' time. He will be joined by Ricky Norwood, Melvin Zareb, and Simon Foxall. That will be on a different stream, but on Chris Cowlin's channel. So keep an eye out for that. Make sure you give that a watch. Also, make sure you subscribe to Chris's YouTube channel. That's at Chris Cowlin. And also, if you're not a subscriber of mine, it's at Barnaby Slater _ daily Tottenham content and transfer talk. Listen, a lot of people are angry with me tonight for being so het up about it, but I was really hopeful that Spurs would get a great result tonight and go into next week's second leg, deserving of our tag as one of the favourites in this Europa League competition. But at the moment, I have to say, not only are Tottenham hanging from the brink of going out of the Europa League, but I think Ange Postecoglou has got his fingernails on the edge of the cliff, because I cannot see next week being easy. I cannot see us beating them by 2 clear goals. I hope I'm wrong. So I feel like maybe the best we can hope for is penalties. And if we lose, I can't see Ange keeping his job. But let's try and be positive. Hopefully we can get a good win against Bournemouth at the week and maybe go into next week and blow them away somehow. But I'm not sure. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your night. Come on, you Spurs.